Welcome to another live stream of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
I've got some company tonight, not like last week where it was me and solo for a couple of hours there. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you to Dave and to Tim for joining me tonight, and also apologies all around for bumping this one from last night to tonight instead. Things got a bit pear-shaped for me behind the scenes, so we just pushed it by 24 hours to tonight. So thank you all for your patience, and glad to have you with us. As always, got a lot to get through tonight, so we're going to get through, what do we got? The latest releases. We're going to review Hardcore Superstar, Dream Widow, and Cross-Eyed Lover. We're going to go back to a classic from Anthrax as well. We're going to talk about new singles from Skid Row, H.E.A.T, Fight the Sun, and Toxicon. Our hot topic is Erik Gronwall joining Skid Row. We're also going to rank Ghost's albums from worst to best. And as always, up the bin and all the usual stupidity, interact with your comments and all sorts of stuff too. So make sure you give us your thoughts as we go along. Say hi like some people are doing now. We'll get to all that in a moment. But that's what's going on. Everything you want to check out or need to know to check out is going to be in the description or in the comments as we go through this one. So make sure you do check that out, whether you're watching live now or tuning in later on. Everything you need is going to be in the description box at least. So go and check that out. And also, find us on your preferred social media platform and follow us there. And a big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Scrimping, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box. So please find them, give them a follow, a like, a share, all that sort of stuff as well. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. For those tuning in on Instagram, just a quick note, the comments don't come through on this platform. So if you are watching on Instagram, you want to leave a comment, make sure you go to a different platform to do just that. But we got some people jumping in to say hi here. So let's do a quick one here. So Nicole, our good friend over there on YouTube, saying hello. So good to see you here, Nicole. Thanks for joining us again. Dean, hey lads, hope all is well. Love the shirts. There we go. So that's a good one there. Good to see you again, buddy. Hope you're keeping well. Sally, another regular. Hello, guys. Good to see you again too. Same with Michael. He's saying hello. So hello back. Brendan, are you being cheeky, or is that Tim sock puppeting the post there? It's either damn orange saying hi. So
that's not me.
That's not you, okay? Because it's you on your tablet, like you could be doing a sock puppet, but okay. Interaction's always good. Well, good. Hello to the whole band anyway, and hopefully the parties went well on the weekend for certain individuals as well. Mark is saying hello. Good to see you, buddy. Same with Stephen. Good to see you as well. And Darren is saying greetings all. How are you feeling, Dave? So we'll do that now. Let's do the round. So, Dave, how are you going?
Yeah, but much better than I was. For those who don't know, last stream I did 2 weeks ago, my kids had COVID, and 2 days after that, me and my wife both tested positive. And yeah, COVID's not fun. I don't recommend it. I'm triple vaxxed, and it kicked my ass for 3 or 4 days straight, and still feeling some of the effects of it. But, I watched a lot of movies. I watched Cobra Kai season 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm happy I got to do that. John Wick 1, 2, and 3. That was cool. Scarface, Tommy. Never seen Tommy before. That was actually really cool. But yeah, lots of other things. But yeah, back at work now, feeling better. Just headaches and the fogginess and some memory loss, which has appeared in the last couple of days. So I'm hoping it's just a side effect of COVID. But yeah, it's really been fucking with me.
A couple of people have said that.
Yeah, just simple things like I forgot someone's name at work, and we were talking about someone at work, and then it's like, what?
Exactly what the person who I spoke to about it said. Yeah, just forgetting names and stuff.
Yeah, I hope it clears up, but yeah, the thing that lingered the most was the foggy head. Just it's not. It's like being on the bourbon without the alcohol feeling.
Yeah,
like you're kind of staggering around. Like second or third day, Julia was feeling pretty bad, so I got up and made tea and. Whole family ate, and I did the dishes, and by that I'm just completely fucked. Could barely stand up. And it wasn't so much the cough and the runny nose, that all cleared up really quick, but it just messes with your head. It's really horrible. But all good now. We had some excitement on the weekend. We saw a pretty good slap, so we saw some great memes. Been laughing my fucking ass off since. So if you're following me on Facebook, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm going to keep sharing memes. They make me happy. It makes me laugh.
Don't apologize. Do it.
Exactly. The unfriend button's there if you don't want to follow me. If you're offended, unfriend me. Quite simple.
There you go. What about you, Tim? How are you going?
Yeah, all right. It's been a busy couple of weeks with work and whatnot, so feeling much better now. So now back into some kind of routine. So yeah, doing good.
Yeah.
Looks like I got a gig tomorrow too now. So
nice. Last minute fill in.
Yeah, I think so.
That's all right then.
I'll find out once the stream's off. I can check what's up.
Stream message is going to go off anyway, but we'll find out. We'll have to keep me in the loop with that because there'll be certain people that I was hoping to film some stuff with tomorrow night. We'll have to work out if that's going to still work or not. So yeah, keep us in the loop either way. Give it a share if nothing else. If you're going, so if you got the gig, then let me know and I'll share it in the morning.
Yep.
Anything else to report?
No, not really. I mean, I've been keeping quiet, you know, trying to stay out of trouble. So, yeah, that part's been successful at least.
That's a good start.
Yeah. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. Just flat out as usual. Between doing this and working, work's gone off, so it's just like fucking bang. Everything's just pretty full on at the moment. So, not a lot of time to scratch, but yeah, last weekend was nuts too because I had both a 30th birthday party and a 90th birthday party for family members to go to, which that takes up pretty much most of your weekend because Saturday was all prepping for that kind of stuff, and then Sunday you go and do all those things, so you just lose the weekend. So I'm looking forward to, you know, day after tomorrow where it's like there's actually nothing planned for the weekend. Something will come up, it always does, but nothing's actually planned. So I might be just able to get a couple of days of downtime in. There's always stuff to do, but at least there won't be that you're losing time that you don't already, you know, have kind of thing. So that'll be all right. But generally speaking, can't complain. Everything's good. We're all healthy. We're all well. Everyone's pretty happy. We're just sort of doing what we do and keep on keeping on. So not much to complain about. Just got a lot to do. That's all. But I'd rather have that problem than having nothing to do. So I'm much more content with that. So that's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. While Dave continues to cough. It was funny when we filmed that thing the other night, Dave, and you coughed right at the start, that brief pause. That was well timed. Anyway, what do we got? We got some more comments here. So Dean saying, great to see you back, Dave. Hope you're all okay now.
Thank you.
Damien, relatively new face on Facebook. Good to see you. Howdy, lads. So good to see you there. Same over on YouTube. Good to see you again, as always. Brad is saying meow. Good to see you too. Another newer face, which is nice. Nicole says, glad you're feeling better, Dave, which is nice. Neil saying howdy. We're getting a few new people tonight. It's cool. Awesome. Mark says, cool skull. So there you go, Dave. You're getting some comments on your set, which is nice. And Belle, our good friend Belle, saying, hi, guys. Dave, does your silent brooding friend have a name? And if not, can we name him? There we go.
Go on.
All right, this will be fun. What do you want to name Dave's skull, people? This could be Fred's taken. Fred's here. You can't have Fred. Let's see how this goes. By the end of the night, let's see if we can come up with a name for your skull, Dave. That'd be
I like it. This will be fun.
Just for something different to do on a stream. How about it, guys? All righty. So let's get into the singles kind of thing. Let's have some fun first. Let's get to this one. First, cab off the rank. Again, everything's in the comments. It's in the description box as well. So Skid Row, the gang's all here. We've got some comments coming through. We'll go to those after we do the singles. So Skid Row, the gang's all here is the first single we're going to talk about tonight. It's in the description box. It's in the comments. So let's have a bit of a chat. Dave, let's go to you first.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. You know, the chorus is really catchy, but if you say the chorus 20 times in a song, it's going to get stuck in your head, and it's repeated a lot. The verses are a bit average, though. I mean, it sounds like you took some of the songs off the first album, fed it into a computer, and you know those AI programs that they're starting to work on? It reminds me of Rattlesnake Shake. On the first one, there's just some of the wordplay in there, but it's like a cheap carbon copy of what they used to be. But the verses aren't very prominent in the song. It's mostly the chorus. And as for what it is, it's pretty much a fun song. Well, the best thing about it is it's a good introduction of Erik Gronwall in Skid Row. So his voice fits the band really good. It's a little bit Sebastian Bach. It's his favorite band, his favorite singer. So you can see, and their tones are similar. He fits the band well. The thing that got me is compared to their earlier stuff, and this made me go back and listen to the self-titled debut and Slaves of the Grind. Their songs were always storytelling. They had a beginning, middle, and end. It was like describing a video, a story. This song describes a picture. It's a still, and they're just standing. So that was one drastic difference. But, you know, it's gotten people interested in the band again. And they're touring. They're coming over here, and fuck yeah, I'm going. So, cool.
Nice. What about you, Tim? What did you make of it?
I think you summed it up pretty well when you said an image of what they used to be.
Yeah. Yep.
It is very difficult for me to get excited about Skid Row in 2022, to be perfectly honest. I can see them playing this live and just this being one of those tracks that, for the first tour, people might be polite.
Yeah.
But if they play this on other tours, it's going to be like Bruce Springsteen playing Wrecking Ball. This is just this is a piss break song.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll never be.
Yeah, I like Wrecking Ball, but it's a piss break song.
Be interesting if they open the set with it. It'd be a good opener, kind of thing.
I think that's what they'd have to do.
Yeah.
The issue is going to be.
It's the second last song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I put it as an opener. That's not a second
last.
Yeah.
The second, well, it depends on how they use it because it was only released a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they kind of tease it, okay, we're going to play a new song, tell us what you think, blah, 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 have some audience interaction, you can maybe make it work for a little while. Yeah. After a while, once people have started to hear it, yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't think there's much to this.
True. Well, look, it is that whole. It's got a nice nostalgia trip to it. It does sort of feel like when you listen to it, it's probably the most Skid Row feeling and sounding song that they've done for quite some time. You go back through the vocals they've had and stuff. This sounds the most like the old school Skid Row that everyone knows and loves. It's as close to it as you're going to get sonically. I do find it a bit incongruous how you've got the Erik talking about how snakes hanging off the ceiling and they're all doing all those things. Like, there's no way these guys are raging on like they used to do. So it's been kind of that dichotomy is a bit sort of like, yep, okay, but it's a fun song. Like, if you're not overthinking it, it's a fun, silly little song that's got a really good hook, like has been mentioned to death. For what it is, it's good. I think it is the right way to introduce Erik as the front man for the band now. And from all reports live, it's going well. The performances are doing all those things, and they've got like a residency, I think, at the moment in Las Vegas. But for those interested, there is an album due. I think it is called The Gang's All Here. It's due something like September, I think, is the rough timeline for this, along with a tour coming up as well. It's that lineup with Reckless Love and Wicked Smile is a pretty fucking good lineup. So it'll be a cracking show live regardless, because despite what you might think, Erik is good enough to do this job and do those songs justice. But we'll get to that a bit later on. But no, I don't mind it. I think it's a good little track. Not a barn burner, but it's a good, catchy song. And it's one of those ones that, yeah, it is definitely going to stay.
Is The Gang's All Here taking a shot at someone?
See, I don't think so, but it does feel a bit disingenuous because I already noticed one comment in the past, I don't know where, but someone saying, is Baz going to be on this one because the title is The Gang's All Here? So all the old school fans are probably going to, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It does feel a little bit kind of like a marketing ploy, but, what do we know, really? Honestly, they just do what they do, and it's a good song at the end of the day. So good, not, ripping the walls down kind of great, but it's a good, solid song that, is a good introduction for the new vocalist as things stand. All right, let's get some comments quickly here. So back to the skull, naming Dave's skull here. We've got Bell saying bad Dave.
Good Dave, bad Dave.
Darren saying
I am evil Homer. I am evil.
Yeah, that's a good one. Darren says knucklehead. That's not a bad one as well. Dean says Bob. So there we go. Damien says scream Brian. There we go. Screams Brian for it. Dean already said no. We're not showing Fred. Fred's already taken. So there you go. Alrighty, on to the and Nicole has gone Harold the Head or Scully. So there's that one.
How about Hairless Hook?
Ooh, Hairless Hook. Goonie.
Hey, he doesn't talk. Yeah, I like it.
He doesn't talk.
He doesn't talk.
Chips in his mouth.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, onto the song for a second while the dog breaks a wall. Neil Wilson saying Skid Row, love it. So there we go. Got some good feedback for it there. Dean says, good song. Never really listened to Skid Row growing up, but I like this new single. So there's some good feedback there too. DB is on Facebook and YouTube saying hello. He also and BP has gone, still no tip option. I had a chance to look at it this week. I honestly do want to do it. I just haven't had a chance to look at that this week at all. It's been flat out. Damien says, couldn't agree more. When does a band pull up stumps? And that's an interesting point there when it comes to Skid Row. So there we go. Darren says, not impressed. So we are getting the other side of the coin here. Dean says they're coming out this year, November, December. Yes, December, I believe, from memory. But Darren says, got my ticket already. Skid Row, Reckless Love, and Wicked Smile. Can't wait. But Shane, hello, Shane. Good to see you, buddy. He's going, it's a catchy motherfucker for sure, which is that song there. So there we go. Bell says, I like the tricky little Vicky reference. That was a fun nostalgia hit. That's a good point there. And DB's gone, Dave's alive. Yes, Dave is alive and well, but another name for the skull there is Axel. So keep the name coming for the for Dave's.
I was thinking of, like, how do you work like a Guns N' Roses reference into bones or skulls or something?
Fuck you, I'm leaving.
Dusty Bone.
Yeah.
Just Dusty Bone.
How about Mr. Brown Bone?
Oh, that is a winner right there, Mr. Brownbone. Okay, that would be
something like that.
We have to. Okay, people out there, if you can find a puntastic way to link Guns N' Roses and that skull on Dave's set, put it in the comments. This will be interesting. Roland's gone Drac, so there we go. Keep them coming. We'll move on to the next single now, which is the latest from H.E.A.T. So it's in the comments, in the description box. This is H.E.A.T with Nationwide. It's actually really remarkable because Skid Row with Erik and H.E.A.T with the what's old and new again singer, whatever. They released singles about a day apart, I think it was. In the end, it was rather remarkable timing. But anyway, H.E.A.T with Nationwide. It is the latest one from that band. The new album Force Majeure is due August 5th for this one. Let's go to you first. Tim, how'd you go with this one?
I thought it was very catchy. I think, again, they really pushed that chorus hard. It's very, I mean, it's what you'd expect from H.E.A.T at this point. It's very much that Euro rock thing. And I think, again, if you're not a fan, it's not going to change your mind. But I think if you are at least partial to it, you'll definitely quite like the track. I'm assuming new music coming as well from H.E.A.T.
Yeah, new album, Force Majeure, August 5th, I think it is.
And I mean, you know, all their albums are generally pretty good. So, I mean, this is a good way to lead off.
Yep. Cool. Dave, you've been following the band for quite a while as well. So what did you make of it?
Oh, I love this. I love this band. I love this type of music. I love the bands came out of Finland. This is a fantastic song with the new old singer. I'm kind of disappointed Erik left, but this guy certainly got the pipes, man. He fucking smokes this. You got that fun, upbeat, next generation European rock, which is always good, / AOR, but not heartbreak AOR. It's just hard rock. Best of both worlds, and it's always cool. High energy, great performances. Vocals are amazing, as mentioned. Guitar work is fucking excellent. Solo's cool. It's got a bit of an 80s vibe, which is cool, but it's not recycling things that are done. You just take the good bit and bring it to something new. And yeah, based off this, I'm really keen for the new album. It's going to be great.
My first takeaway from this was because in the playlist we set up for this, for our weekly listening, this came straight after Skid Row. It's funny how those songs followed one after the other really nicely. Like they really do back up against each other really well. But, you know, it's the old singer as the new singer again for H.E.A.T, and a step hasn't been missed. He picks up because he did do a vocal of one of the tracks off the last album just as a YouTube. And that was really good. He's coming to this one with a new song, and he sounds great. Honestly, there is obviously a difference between him and Erik, but he sounds fantastic. I think he does a really good job, and he is as good a front man, just a slight difference, but just as good as Erik was for H.E.A.T. So I think that I don't think fans are going to be disappointed or feel like there's anything missing when the new album comes out. I think this is really, really picking up right where they left off, which is, you know the chemistry is going to be there, but there's always that what if moment. I think this sort of puts that to bed. It's a great song. It's well written. It's catchy. Another good hook in it. Everything about it is what you want out of H.E.A.T. If you're a fan, you got to enjoy it. If you like the melodic rock side, but like with a bit more bite and less heartbreak, this is a band. These guys are the clips of the two bands to go to in that world, and these guys definitely bring some fire to the stuff they do. They are one of the more upbeat or slightly more aggressive ones in this genre, and this song, does really live up to that really well. So I'm happy with it. I think it's another good solid single, and we'll see what happens with the album. But yeah, it's enough to make me very, very excited to hear more. So there we go. Very, very happy with that one. Only one comment now from Sally for the skull, and that's Yarrick. So there we go. We can call it Yarrick if you want, but
Probably Yarrick.
yeah. try and keep the idea. Guns N' Roses and that skull. Let's hang on. Bear with me for a second here. This will be interesting. Does this work? Yes, this works. Aha. Cool. I found the shortcut. There's the skull. You want to give it a Guns N' Roses reference, people? It's actually got a black rose in its mouth. I didn't even notice that until now. So
That's so cool.
So that's what we're going for. Yeah, let us know. Any sort of Guns N' Roses cross skull. Think about that. Bell, good to have you here again, like I said before, but good to have you the feedback even as well. I thought this was a perfectly executed modern take on classic style hard rock. We'll definitely be checking out more of this band who I hadn't heard of before now. You're going to enjoy the last albums. Yeah.
If you like that track, you're in for a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to go and enjoy. So, yes, please do check out more. And let us know what you think, Belle. Would love to hear your thoughts because, yeah, if you like that song, you're going to be a fan pretty quickly. All righty, let's go back onto Melbourne town tonight now. And this link's going to be a bit different. The video that I'm sharing is actually been streamed live via Heavy Magazine tonight. So the link is going to Heavy Magazine to follow this one. But the new song from Fight the Sun, Melbourne band Fight the Sun, the new song is Friends Are Enemies. There is a link in the description and in the comments now. So make sure you check it out and let us know what you think of this one too. We have had these guys play for us at one of our Whole Lot of Love gigs. They're fantastic. The band's actually sent this one in as well to check out. So thank you to the band for sending it in. And Dave, let's go to you. How'd you go?
I thought this band name sounded familiar. I forgot that they played at the Whole Lot of Love, but yeah, I remember them now. Yeah, this is cool. This is dark and heavy. It's very moody, and the tone fits beautifully for the atmosphere that they're going. Yeah. It's nice little use of keys in the chorus as well. I thought that was a nice touch. It really gave an extra dynamic to it. There's no flashy solo like I usually like, but the lead work, especially towards the end of the song, very cool. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, this is a cool song. If you don't know this band, it's a good starting place.
Yeah. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I like this a lot. So there's some nice, because there was some nice, it had a nice sort of grungy kind of sound to it. But what I liked about it too was they mastered the whole tension release thing.
Yeah.
They really built it up at the start, and then you had this really nice, pretty chorus with this really great, simple but effective melody to it. And like Dave said, there's some tasty work behind it. And it's just a very pleasant track to listen to from start to finish.
Yep. If you're following the band or know these guys, probably the biggest one you might have checked out before we played on the show is Goodbye Gravity. And this, they've done another single before this one, I think, and then there's an EP that track, Goodbye Gravity, comes from. This one, it feels like a slight evolution for the band, but not a huge departure. Just like Dave mentioned, the keys, they haven't really done that before. I went back and checked out their previous stuff, and they haven't used sort of the keys the way they've used them on this track until now. So it's a new step, a new direction in that regard, but it fits. It adds that darker touch that these guys have in their songs, and there's a certain moodiness to this. If you like your moody rock, you're going to really enjoy this one. But it's not just a soft track. There's some meat on the bone on this one. It's well worth checking out. If you like, how do you put it? It's got that grungy touch, post-grunge touch, contemporary stuff in there. If you like just good hard rock that's a little bit more, you want to say somber in vibe, but the energy is there. It's not really a somber track. It's one of those ones that's hard.
It's kind of dirty,
Yeah. It's not an easily pigeonholed kind of track either, which is cool, and I like that about it a lot. They just got that. I know they're not alike, but for some reason put me in mind a little bit of what you get out of Mark Kane sometimes. I don't know. It's just something about it that just seems to fit. I know that might not be the most accurate comment, but it just sort of comes into my head when I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I reckon I'm not sure what's coming up next from these guys, but this is pretty cool, and I'm curious to hear what happens next, because taking it as an evolutionary step for the band, it makes me really excited for what could come next, because the way they're exploring things a bit with this song could be really, really exciting to hear in like an EP or an album context. So yeah, very, very happy. I liked it a lot. Keen for more when we can get it. Got got some comments here. So for the skull name, Man Family, good to see you. Izzy for the skull name. That's not a bad one there.
Yeah, he hasn't been heard of for a while, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Rowan says ball and socket queen. That's
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. Well, here's a clever one though. November Brain.
I like that.
Yes.
November Brain. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right. Sally just checked out the Fight This Anthrax. She goes, had a quick listen, liked it a lot. Cool. Everyone else out there, check it out. Let us know what you think. We're going to move on to the last single for tonight. And this is from another Victorian band called Toxicon, who we've followed for a while now on the show. The new single is Deletist. So the band is Toxicon. Sorry, the song is Deletist. It's in the description box, in the comments. Go and check it out. Let us know what you think. And they have a new album, Be the Fire and Wish for the Wind, due mid this year. That's coming up in a little bit. Tim, how'd you go?
Liked it a lot.
Mm.
It was very kind of. It wasn't perfect sounding. It was very kind of dirty sounding, but it was also had that right kind of grit to it.
Yeah.
But it suited the lyrics and it suited the song too.
Mm.
It was very nice and pissed off, which was great. It had a lot to say, and as a lead single for an album, makes me want to hear more of it. So it's mission accomplished. A nice groove to it. Yeah, it sounded good.
Cool. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, I was listening to these songs with my earplugs in at work, and this one came on, and I didn't know who it was. I was like, oh, this is interesting. This guy's voice is very almost familiar, but I couldn't pick it, and I don't know him. I don't know this band. I'm like, fuck, this is really, really good. It's got a good harsh delivery, harsh tone. It's a little bit dirty, as Tim said, but yeah, it's just it's unique enough to be different, but familiar enough to fit with what you know. So it's very, very hard to slot into those type of bands. But yeah, I'm keen to hear a lot more from this band. This is the right type of heavy for me.
Yeah,
it's harsh, it's dirty, it's got melody. I think the vocals are what really stood out for me with this. But yeah, I want to hear more from this band. This was cool.
Yeah, this is another one that, like Fight the Sun before, feels like a more of a natural progression for these guys. They've got at least one album out beforehand. That's pretty cool. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. But that album I enjoyed a lot. But this single takes what they started there and branches out a bit more. There's a little more melody to it, but it's still plenty of darkness and aggression in this. It's not like it's suddenly a heavy band's gone melodic and all that. They haven't got that. They've just got they've got enough melody in the chorus to make it have a hook and get stuck in your head. But there's plenty to say, like Tim said. There's a lot of bite in the lyrics, and the social commentary in this is very well done, very clever. It's just a heavy groove-based, like you said, bit gritty. Just a really cool heavy. Oh, you want to say heavy rock, but it's not heavy rock. It is definitely metal, but there's just that swing and groove to it that gives it that sort of rock feel a bit here and there to it, which is, I don't know, it's a captivating song. And out of the four, when it comes on, I think it might be the one that kind of stands out the most, if that makes sense. It sounds the least like anything else out there kind of thing. So when you listen to these four songs in a row, it just sort of leaps out and gets your attention really quickly. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think this is, if you like it on the heavier side, this is a band. You should check out the album beforehand and check out this single as well. And yeah, keep an eye out because the new album is due out mid this year. Had a lot of love for the last one. Very, very keen for this one. So yeah, bring it on. Very happy with this track. Very keen to hear more. So keep us in the loop, guys. Very, very happy with this one. We're not alone. Darren says, yep, like this one. Love to check out more from them. So yes, please do check out that one as well. And Bell's chimed in too, saying, I absolutely love this. After listening to this track, I immediately had to hear more. So I ended up having myself a little Toxicon fest and listened to everything Spotify had to offer. New fan here for sure. Hope a new album is coming. Yes, new album, Bell, is Be the Fire and Wish for the Wind, due mid this year. So there is a new album on the way. If you're a fan, that's awesome. Glad that you got to discover this one as we're going through things there too. Yeah, they're very cool. Very much worth checking out. All righty. Keep your thoughts coming as we're going to go. We normally do a gig plug, but we're not actually doing a gig plug at this point in time. We're going to just do something a bit different here. So bear with me for a second. I can't put this in the description box at this point in time. I'm going to put it in the comments. But if you are checking this out and you can't find what I'm talking about, head to Facebook and check out the page for Studio 1B. Studio 1 is STUDIOONE.BE. So Studio 1B is the Facebook page you're looking for here when it comes to what I'm about to discuss here next. So, Tim, you're familiar with Studio 1B. We'll get your thoughts in a moment as well. But Darren jumped in and said, like the Toxicon song. So a lot of love going around for Toxicon, which is nice. All right. So earlier today, 5 hours ago roughly, Studio 1B put up this. So it's a bit of an awareness raising. Give them a bit of a shout out here. Saying, hi, everyone. Don't often do things like this, but can I please ask you all to read this through? Now, it's not one of those silly chain ones. This is actually a legit one, which is very much more in my wheelhouse. I don't like the chain ones. But anyway, as many of you know, we have a new site for the studio at 942 Sydney Road in Coburg North. We're going through the process with Moreland Council to get our permit to operate and are now being asked to state our case at a council hearing on the 12th of April. As many of you know, I am super passionate about our community and supporting all of you to be the best you can be. I rarely ask anything of you all in return, so now is the time where I need to call on you all to get behind the vision and help us to deliver a message to Moreland that what we do here at 1B is important. So what can you all do to help? Firstly, take a moment to add a comment below telling us why 1B is important to you. Honestly, it can be as long or as short as you'd like, but just make it from the heart. Please share this to anyone you know in our community to do the same. So you know what to do, folks. Get out there and share it. If we can get 100 comments in support of what we are doing here or more, it will carry a great deal of weight with the hearing. For any of you who are really keen to get behind us, if you are able to attend the council meeting to show strength in numbers, I will let you know if we can do that. That's it's a bookmark there for that. I can't stress enough that it's moments like these that we all need to stand up and demonstrate the importance of facilities like ours to our community. Thanks so much in advance for any support you can give through this time. The team here at 1B/Headstone and your general community will be very, very grateful indeed. So there we go. Bit of a plug for them there. Tim, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so they've been working very hard on the new site just up the road from the old site. Much bigger room, main recording room, much bigger. They'll have more recording spaces, more jam spaces, more practice spaces, and just a cool central spot for musicians to hang out and do shit. And 1B's sort of been very integral for me the last couple of years. Of course, Orange is signed to Headstone Records, which is run through 1B, and we recorded the first album there, and Arcane Saints recorded a lot of demos there as well. There with the gang there, so we've done a lot of work through Studio 1B, and we're not the only band. There are tons of bands that that have been focused here on the Hard Rock Show that have gone through 1B at some point in time. Very integral to the community, these guys, and it's just a cool little way to give back, and hopefully everything goes well with the council. Because people we would like to see these guys succeed just a little bit more.
Yeah, that's it. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Dave?
It sounds like you should help them out. Never been there, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but yeah, knowing what they've done with Headstone, which is a sort of a newer label, but they're doing really good things, and they offer a lot of support to bands and that as well. The studio space, the upgrade was kind of required, if I'm correct, Tim. They needed the new space to keep things growing, didn't they?
Pardon?
They needed the new space. They needed the upgrade, didn't they? Like that was what.
Yeah, well, they'd outgrown the old place basically. Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
but also it comes with its downfalls as well. But
I think that over the last couple of years in particular, we've seen how much the music industry at large has been impacted by. Let's not talk about it all the time, but we all know why. But the thing about it is we've seen studios close, venues close, all these things close, and we're losing the capacity for our local scene, quote unquote, to have facilities or places to do things like rehearse, to record, to get feedback, support, all those sorts of things. It's a shrinking field. And so it'd be nice to see this one get up off the ground and pass through any hurdles that are, excuse me, thrown their way, because we need more of it, not less. And I, for one, I haven't had a great deal to do with them, but they're always lovely to work with from everything I've heard about. And yeah, just very, very keen to see another one get up off the ground. What's the harm in this? I don't understand what it could be. We all know things about, council laws and stuff of late haven't been kind to the music industry. So let's hopefully turn this one around. And yeah, if you do have something in there that you can give a comment on that page, or if you have anything, or even if you don't know the or know Studio on B or Headstone, make sure you share it so we can get the word out to those that can leave a positive comment and try and get it. They're up to 60 plus comments now. And 9 shares. If we can get that a bit higher, that would be a big help to everyone out there as well. So please do take a moment, even if you don't know the project, give it a share. Let's use the power of social media for some positive stuff for once, as opposed to everyone talking about a slap. Will not get old, but it's one of those things that we should try and get some more support and love for that one there. So have some nice things to say, put it on the page. Otherwise, give it a share, help out all around, do the right, the quote unquote the right thing, help the community a little bit. Cost you nothing, a few seconds of your time. Alrighty, just going to refresh this Toxicon thing. So I think I said before, but just in case, Darren said, "Yep, like the Toxicon songs, that's cool." Sally also enjoyed it. Big and chunky sound, very cool. Going back to the studio there for a second. Dean says, "Great studio. Used to rehearse there. Great people. Met Dead Sea Ruins guys there and David Warner, the owner." So there you go.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we need these hubs for people to interact and grow. And
Dead Sea Ruins, Gazillion Angry Mexicans, Warbirds, Sarah Ada.
Yep.
Yeah, like all these bands are like, stalwarts of Melbourne music. So
yeah. So
all been through there.
Yep. We need more of it, not less. So get on it and give it some support.
Sun Traders.
Yeah. Yes, definitely Sun Traders, because they're the same label as you, aren't they? So that's there as well. Yeah. Very cool. Get on it. Give them a bit of chop out there, folks. That'd be greatly appreciated all around. Damien's just dropped in to say, just wanted to say a quick thanks for us older fans that rely on you lads to keep us informed. Cheers. You're most welcome. We do all we can. Can't promise you'll always agree with what we've got to say, but hopefully we'll keep you up to date anyway. So we'll go with that as a theory. All right. Speaking of news and keeping things up to date, let's get on to the hot topic. And this is Erik Gronwall joining Skid Row. We touched on this single before. Now it's time to give our thoughts on this announcement and how it's all playing out. Let's go to Dave first on this one. What did you think when you heard this bit of news?
I thought someone was joking. To be honest, I'm like, huh? Skid Row has another new singer, and it's Erik Gronwall from H.E.A.T. This is too good to be true. If you're not going to get Sebastian Bach, this is probably the next bet.
Yep.
Being an old school fan, Skid Row was one of the first cassettes I bought. Skid Row's first album were like the first 5 albums. And I always go back to those albums, so this band means a hell of a lot. But as far as new music goes, I fucking love H.E.A.T. And Erik Gronwall's an amazing singer and an amazing frontman, so it certainly breathes some new life into this band. It kind of feels like an 80-year-old man with a 21-year-old wife, but it's a good thing sometimes. You get some youthful energy and it makes you feel young again. So we spoke about the song earlier, and it's all right, but they're still going to be a nostalgia act. I mean, Guns N' Roses are nostalgia, Kiss. Some bands just get stuck in that time period, but this is going to be the best nostalgia act that can possibly be. So I'm certainly keen to hear more from this lineup. The new album's going to be cool. I want to see them live. Definitely stoked to see that. But I know their name's been dragged from the mud in recent decades. This is the 6th singer they've had. Yeah. And for whatever reason, there could be something happening, but who the hell knows? Just enjoy the ride at the moment. That's all I'm here for. It's cool.
Nice. All right. What about you, Tim?
I'm just waiting for KK Downing to join Skid Row.
Well played. Well played.
Look, here's the reality, right? Where are they playing when they're touring here?
Max Watts.
Max Watts, right? Yeah. How much are the tickets?
$90.
$90. So 600, 700 capacity room.
Yeah.
How much money is that? So you say 60. So 60.
Math is not our strong point. We got the guy who's supposed to be drumming to be the counting here, so this is going to be interesting.
So what is it, like 60 grand or something?
What's $90? 9.6 is about 5.5, 6K, something like that.
All right.
Well,
now,
free baby.
if Sebastian Bach is fronting Skid Row, where are they playing?
Well, yeah, Rod Laver probably.
Skid Row were offered the support for the Not in This Lifetime tour. They could have done with Guns N' Roses. They were offered if Sebastian was there.
Wow.
Rachel turned it down. He is a stubborn little bitch.
Again, they play Rod Laver. Rod Laver. All of a sudden, that goes to their Australian tour goes from making a few $1,000s to making a few $100,000.
Yeah.
How stubborn can you be to have turned down that kind of money?
Yeah,
because they're obviously not rich. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be touring.
Yeah,
true.
And the fact is, I mean, when you're making that kind of money, they could just take separate planes, meet up 5 minutes before the show, and then disappear again.
He doesn't have to marry the guy; just has to get up on stage and sing.
Exactly. Do you think Sammy Hagar and the Van Halens were hanging out was hanging out with Van Halen on his last tour? Hell no.
No.
But they were making bank, baby. They were making bank though.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's all. Like when I think I see this, I feel like this is a Skid Row cover band. I think Erik Gronwall's a great singer, but it's a cover band. And because of their own, dick measuring contest, they're turning down millions upon millions of dollars, which I just think is stupid. Do business.
It's an interesting one. Just for the math,
which is amazing because like Sebastian Bach by himself would draws more than Skid Row.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Whoa. Okay, I'm not putting that on the screen. You can fuck off.
Oh, where's this from?
YouTube. It was YouTube. Yeah. That was intense for a second there. Yeah, not going to repeat that one. Nothing to do with anything. It was just someone spamming, and it was repeat. So yes, I've blocked that user. So good luck. If you're trying to get our attention, you've gone about it the wrong way. Anyway, that's a new one. Were you done there, Tim? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm all good.
I got sidetracked there. Sorry. Shout out to Darren here for the math. Math is not my strong point. It's at 170 Russell, capacity 1,050. If full house, it's $90, 94,500. There we go. So that's the math there from Darren.
I always get 170 and max watts mixed up.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I saw the tour poster.
Yeah, so that plus backline, touring costs, travel costs. So again, you're looking at decent money, but I mean, it's not comparable to
not what it could
what's
be
on offer. Yeah,
when you're comparing a 1,000 capacity venue to a 15,000 capacity venue.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Plus, when you're playing in the other place with the other line, with the classic lineup, that's when you start charging VIPs and meet and greets, and that's when you really start making coin.
It's look, in terms
of I was paying $600 to meet Erik Gronwall.
No, he's a lovely bloke. I have a lot of time for him personally, but I'm not going to pay $600 for the pleasure. I do apologize, Eric. I love you to bits, but sorry, but that's not going to happen. Alrighty. So for me, it's an interesting one here. Because as Dave said, he'll be the sixth lead singer for this band. It looks like the album coming up will be the band's sixth studio album. So they've done 6 studio albums, 4 EPs, and they've got their 6th singer overall now to do this one. For a band that started out in 86, that's not a great strike rate. Just putting it out there. So that I think in a lot of respects they've been their own worst enemy. And the music's been good. It's not for a lack of that, but they just seem to have. I know I'm not going to dismiss anyone. Like everyone seems to want to. Well, sorry, certain members of certain bands want to put the blame on one individual, I think there's a bit of blame to go all around, because there's no reason why you turn over that sort of singer rate either if it's, the singer is the problem. For me, if you want to go like for like, the Skid Row cover band thing's been mentioned, and that's a fair point, then Erik Gronwald is a great like for like kind of replacement. He'll bring the energy. He's a great front man. He'll do all the right things. He'll do the songs justice. He'll be perfect for the show. So if you want to go and see this live, you will not be disappointed. It will be fucking fantastic to see these songs done live with Erik out front. It will not disappoint you in any way, shape, or form. I think that it's an interesting one because it's one of those situations. I remember seeing the post from Erik where he was saying, he flew in and met them for the first time just the other day kind of thing, and then they start doing shows, and so it's all very much, I think, your guy spoke to my guy and then we made it work kind of a thing versus a genuinely warm camaraderie or quote-unquote friendship. I'm hoping that develops over time, but it just seems like it's okay, here's a fit, let's just gang and put it together and off you go. The other side to it, though, is that whilst I'm concerned about the strike rate of singers, when they do settle on a singer, they tend to stay there for a good 5 to 6 years. So there could be a bit of longevity to this, which is a good thing in, when you look at it. That's just a matter of, it feels a bit cobbled together. This is a good start. We'll see how well it goes. I think for the tour, it'll work out well. I think it'll go really well in the live setting. But yeah, the other flip side to it is that, when you just want to do business, then you could do business. Not to knock Erik at all. I think he's going to be fantastic. But just if you wanted to make this really go bang for buck, there's one way to do it, and it would go off, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I really don't think it is ever going to happen. It should have happened by now. I think it's probably getting a bit too late for it, to be honest. That Guns N' Roses...
Well, that's the thing. The window's closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not going to happen. Yeah. As you were about to say, the Not in This Lifetime tour, they would have been...
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been perfect. But it is what it is. I like I said, I do wish them all the best. Like, honestly, I do hope it goes well. I hope the album is a fucking cracking release coming up later this year. I think that all these things, it'll be good. It's a bit of a quirky one, but yeah, I just hope that it all goes well and it's smooth and it's not a one and done kind of thing. I'd like to see this band get some stability now and go through things and actually put out some consistency, if that makes sense. They've been at it for a while and not got a lot to. They've got stuff to show for it, but not a volume of content, if that makes sense. I'd see them just sort of pump out a few ones and maybe the second or third album, if they can get together for that, would be, that I think then you'd be able to make an argument that that'd be really solid, because then there'd be more released works than they've done with any other singer prior to this one as well, which would be an interesting turning point in the future, if that makes sense. But I wish them all the best. I think the fit is a good fit. I'm just curious as to how long it'll last and where it'll go in the final analysis. But time will tell. We do have some comments on this one, as we always do, so this is going to be fun. What do we got here? So Tom said, this horse has been kicked way too many times. It's time to call it a day. And I think there's a few people that share that sentiment. To which he's followed up with, it's like Spinal Tap, but instead of drummers, it's singers. So there we go with that one from Tom. Dean said, is there any bad blood with Sebastian Bach? If so, is that why they haven't brought him back? There's a lot of acrimony there that Rachel Bolan and Sebastian Bach don't get along, and that's where the problem has come in. There was the last tour that Baz did that he offered, because he was doing the 30th anniversary of
Slaves to the Grind.
And he offered the old band members to come up and join him. And Rachel out and out said not happening. So, it's one of those ones where, unfortunately, it's just not quite looking like it's going to work. So Damien said, maybe he knows the good times have passed. He wants to leave fans with the great memory past performances. That's a good one too. Fair enough point there as well. Back to
I don't think we put the context just how much money is on the line here.
Well, that's true. There's a lot. They
could realistically make, say, $500,000 a show.
Yeah.
Every show.
And that's worldwide.
But let's say, 200 shows in 1 year, $500,000 a show every show.
Yeah.
We're talking serious coin. I mean, how much is nostalgia worth?
It can be worth a lot. We've seen it with a lot of other things, so it can be worth a hell of a lot. And people go
petty.
And Baz still has it. Like, Baz is not. He's still a great frontman. So, yeah. He can definitely pull it off. So there's no actual reason aside from egos getting in the way of that not working out.
And as you mentioned, he extended his hand on the previous tour on Slave to Grind. He wanted to make something happen.
Yeah, that's a good one, Matt. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It won't happen now, obviously, but yeah, it's just an interesting conversation. It'll never get old. It'll keep being beaten around the bush, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Rowan says, back to the skull, creep show. So there we go. That could be a name for you for your skull there, Dave. Creep show. Damien says, factor in promoting fees for the larger venue. That's another one there too when it comes into it. Dean said, didn't Erik have a health issue at some point as well? Good to hear he did. If he didn't, then got in Skid Row soon after. Yes, he had cancer. And he's just beaten it, and he's got his New Horizon project out, and he's done some other stuff, and he's got his YouTube covers going to, and now he's in Skid Row. So he's flying. He's going on all cylinders. He's going to be the next Michael Romeo or Ronnie Romero. Sorry, Ronnie Romero. He's just a vocalist for all projects. Like, he's going to be the next one of those, which I think is fantastic. Personally, he's a great voice. Love hearing more of him. There we go. Darren says, don't forget that door taking factor also has Reckless Love to consider. So that's another one there as well when it comes to the 170 Russell show too. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Okay, you can go away as well. Rightio. And another one. Jesus Christ, it's all happening today. Okay, I'm not going to show that one. Sorry, there's a few ones here. Anyway, Damien says, I was a manager at the hotel they stayed at in the early 90s, Calder Park tour with Guns N' Roses. There was a disconnect between Buck and the band back then, not a lot of time together. So,
wow.
For what it's worth, they've done it before. There we go. Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, so Darren says, I thought Buck played at the Forum. So, yes, he did. That is, there we go there as well. So, that was a great gig too, by the way. That was fantastic. Either of you? No, you guys weren't there for that one, were you?
Kicking myself. I really missed.
Yeah, that was a fucking awesome show. That was fantastic. Alrighty. So, Brad, good to see you. Says, name the skull after Sebastian Bach. So there we go there. TC, good to see you, buddy. He's gone, hi, guys. If this doesn't work out, then nothing will. And that's probably a very valid point. If this thing doesn't work out now, I think it is time to put the fork in it. What have we got here? Conrad, good to see you, buddy. He's gone, they need Buck more than Buck needs them. I pray one day they can get it together. That would be very, very cool as well. That would be nice. All right. So, Damien, before when Tim was talking about his stuff there, was saying valid point when it talked about how much money is nostalgia worth, which is nice. And Rowan says, got some bots, conversion bots on YouTube. They've increased the viewer count at least. Yeah, that's where the stuff's been going on there. So, yeah, good to see you over that as well, Rowan. It's been fucking weird trying to monitor those comments. What else we got here? Darren says, only Robert Fuso has no issue with Baz. So, okay, there we go. Yeah. Overly sure where it's all at. What else we got here? What do we got? So Sally says, what would merch bring in money-wise, Tim? So there we go.
I don't really know, really. Depends. Like, I mean, I know the big wrestling companies sort of market for about $20-$30 a head per show.
Mm.
Now, what that means for music, I've got no idea.
Mm.
But they'll all have, I mean, for all these gigs, the difference will be, like, when you're playing at your Billboard, you'll ring up a T-shirt company, you'll get boxes delivered, and you'll do it yourself. When you're playing at, Rod Laver, you've got a separate company doing that for you.
Yeah.
And they're just paying you for the privilege to do it.
Yeah. It is one of these ones. It is. There's a lot going on. It also depends too on certain venues also take a cut of things like merch sales and that as well. So it's all really interesting.
Yeah, there's a huge variable. And I mean, well, but the other thing is too, like, I mean, they're probably going to sell T-shirts at $50, $60 a pop.
Yeah.
Again, when you're a bigger band, you're playing Rod Laver, they're $90, $100.
Yeah. It's also, those costs and that are an interesting one to to pay attention to. So it's yeah, it all gets really, really.
At the end of the day, they're all printed by Andrew anyway. So,
well, not quite, but yeah, there's a lot of contracts that go on there. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. There's some interesting stuff going on in the comments. We'll address that at a later time. I'm not sure what the fuck is all this about, but we'll deal
just be some bots around.
Yeah, it's whatever. Alrighty. So yeah, Lee's noticed. What the fuck? No censorship on YouTube commentary. Yeah, it's gotten pretty nuts in there. So Dean said, wow, cancer free, huge. Congrats to him beating the beast, which is nice. And Damien says, I defy anyone not to get fired by slave to the grind. And back to the skull for a second here. How about Slasher the Skull, which is cool.
Slasher the Skull.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I like it.
Yeah, Slasher the Skull. Alrighty. Let's move on to the next one now, which is the ranking of Ghosts albums from worst to best. So there we go. We're going to rank the Ghost albums from worst to best. And let's start with Tim on this one. Off you go.
It's a bit of a misnomer, to be fair. Worst Ghost albums. Let's just bring them up here. No, because I'm a professional and I have things ready beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Yep.
Now, as much as I hated to do this, the way I've judged this is just by what I listen to most.
Yep.
Cool. Because I think that's the fairest way to do things. Just because I think they're all good. You should listen to all.
Yep.
But I have Meliora at the bottom, then Opus Eponymous, then Prequel.
Wow.
Then Infestasamum, however you pronounce it.
Yep.
And then Impera, just because I think that's over time, it's just too good. It's going to replace whatever was previously on top.
Yeah. Alrighty, that's a good list. Different to mine. Dave, how did it go with yours?
Yeah, I haven't heard every Ghost album, so I'm just going to go along with my journey with Ghost and just say chronological.
Yep.
Chronological, because I've been aware of them as they're gone, and bit by bit they sparked my interest. And the new album is by far the best of what I heard. So yeah, as they've come out, they've gotten better and better.
Yep, that's a fair point. Mine probably follows yours a little more closely than that. But I actually went through and had a quick skim today while listening, like thinking ahead for this one. And for mine, when I think back, because we've covered these guys, I think we've reviewed every album as it's come out on the show over the years, and come back to the Jimmy and Dennis on the couch days and up to today. The what it is I've always felt that they've gotten better, like Dave said, with every release, but it's actually when I go through and listen to the tracks and just sort of skim through things, you pick it up. Like, you appreciate the older stuff more now, but at the time what stayed with me more is pretty much been by release order. I felt like it's resonated with me more and more as I've gone through, except for the last two. I swap them around. So yeah, Opus Eponymous, the first one, then Infestissimum, then Meliora. Like, Meliora is that's a cracking fucking album. That is really, really good. And it's one of those ones where you sit there and go, ooh, it's probably one of those ones that over time it might sort of start to pip a few things as things move along. But I put Impera at number 2 and then Prequel at number 1. I just think that little swap for me. Prequel is the one that I love. Impera, I love it to death. But and it might be another one that in time changes its perspective or point of view. But the way it works with Prequel, just every single song, the drama of it, everything else is just stuck in my head all the time. So that's the one that's stayed with me the most. So it's an interesting one there. Let us know out there if you want to rank all 5 Ghost albums, then let us know in the comments. But also, just for if you don't want to do that, let us know your favorite or your least favorite, just to give us some sort of bookends on the list there, which is a bit of an interesting one there to go with, which is let us know. It'd be very, 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 very cool to get some feedback on that. But that was just something a bit different. We haven't really done a ranking before. We figured we'd give this one a go. But yeah, a bit of fun to be had there. short little one, nothing complicated. There's only 5 albums to go through, and when Dave and I are pretty much in agreement, there's not a heap of debate. But it was interesting to get Tim, because I knew that Prequel was a bit down the list for you because it was one you enjoy, but not as much as the other ones put above it. Clearly,
I thought it was a little overhyped.
Yes. We'll be getting to that in a moment, Dean. Just quickly here. Nicole says, I think we have a cross chat line. Yeah, I'm not sure what the fuck's going on, but all right. Name for the skull from Conrad. Vic Nakedhead. So there's another one. Getting some fun there as well. Rowan says, I still only have Prequel, but yeah, I rate that number 1, which is off you go. Damien, though, which is a common theme here. Ghost is a band I just can't warm to. I've tried to, but they're a little too Blue Oyster Cult for my liking. There are people that this band just doesn't grab hold of, and that's fair enough. But Dave, it took you a little while to warm up to them more and more, and the last one got your attention finally. So we just got to get the Night Flight Orchestra to do the same thing to you now. Then it'll be
That's not happening.
Every time an album comes along, they get another person. It's not going to happen. I'm determined.
I really like every time you compare a band that I liked the Night Flight Orchestra, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens. It's you two are the last two standing now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in that regard. Anyway, that's a wild segue to go to Night Flight Orchestra. But yeah, Ghost, one of those bands that once they get you, it's awesome. It's just a matter of getting that hook into you. Yeah, and also Nicole says go see them live. That is a quote unquote religious experience. That is well worth your time. That will, if you haven't seen them live, do so, because even if you're not a huge fan of the band, that will sell you. The live show is second to none. It's fantastic. Darren's got a quick side topic here. Has anyone heard the new Def Leppard song? We did cover that, or we covered that last week. Did I do that on my own, or
I think you did?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did. It sounds older Def Leppard. Like, as in not, it sounds like Def Leppard getting older, if that makes sense. But it's a good song to me. I enjoyed it a fair bit. I thought it was well done. Did the job. It's got a good hook in it. It's one of those songs that it's written around the hook like the other ones we covered previously. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Have either of you two heard it? Or
yeah, I've heard it. Well, yeah, as you said, Def Leppard, as they are now, they're not trying to recapture their former glory, but they're not sounding like anything other than who they are.
Yeah.
Not as produced as what you get on stereo, which I think at this point in your career is probably a good thing. Just like what Bowie did, just strip it down, but do what you do and write some music.
Yep. That's cool. Tim, you checked it out at all, or?
I have not heard it, unfortunately, no.
That's all good. All good. And T says, I'm in the camp of people that has struggled to understand the hype with Ghost. So there we go. TC is one of those ones that doesn't quite get there, but we'll hopefully convince him at some point down the line as well. All right. Before we get into the reviews, let's do a bit of a sad topic here for a second. So first up, Dean said, if it hasn't been said before, rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Huge shock to the world in music. Only saw them a few weeks ago in Geelong and had tickets for their tour in December. Who would have thought that Geelong gig was the last time I saw him and the 30,000 that were there? So that's an interest. Like it's a bit of a body blow, that one. Yeah, I don't know. Tim, have you got any thoughts you want to share on that one?
Oh my God. Plenty of so I can't understate how good this guy was at playing the drums. I've said it tons of times, but your drummer should be your conductor. Yeah. And what I mean by that is you've got to control the band's emotion, their tempo, it's not just tempo and feel and groove, it's emotion, it's weight of performance, it's drama, it's passion, it's things like that. And when you listen to the Foo Fighters, they have all that. But if you listen to their songs, it's a very basic chord progression with a basic melody. What gives them that drama is the drums. Yeah. He he knows what loud, noisy thing to hit to portray a certain emotion, and there's different types of crashes and different types of cymbals and different types of snare drums, all that portray different things, all different sounds portray different things, and he's unbelievably good at that. But I was talking about this with my sister yesterday. My sister's also a wrestling fan. And he was probably about 10 years younger than Scott Hall, which is crazy. But Scott was an athlete, so he's retired younger. But we were thinking about this, and I mean, he first started touring heavily with Alanis Morissette on Jagged Little Pill, and so he's been doing it for 25 years now. When you think about, the amount of press that the Foo Fighters did when they were in Australia, every radio station wants a piece of them, every TV show wants a piece of them, every thing wants a piece of them, and you've got to go out that night and be that rock star, and then you've got to go to bed.
Yep.
And you've got to do that 300 times a day, every day, non-stop for 25 years. There comes a point where a stiff coffee in the morning and a warm cup of milk at the end of the night just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And the solution to this is probably the same thing as it was, with a guy like Scott Hall, is that he's working 300 times a day, every day, 300 times a day, 300 times a year, every year, is probably not the healthiest thing for people to do, because physically humans just can't do it. We're not built to do that. And there comes a point where, like I said, a stiff cup of coffee doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, it was a big shock. Was there anything else you wanted to add there, or are you that's where you?
Oh, look, I honestly, I'd be questioning whether or not the Foo Fighters even put out another album at this point.
Yeah, I'd be doubtful. Yeah,
because if every press tour there was Dave Grohl, there was him, and him. And if there was a third guy, it was Pat Smear, because he was the other guy in Nirvana.
Yeah. Yep.
And how Pat Smear is still alive, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Look at his previous bands as well.
Yeah.
But it's because he was such an integral part to that band as a performer, as a media guy, and as a musician. Again, he's not an easy guy to replace.
Yeah.
So whether or not they try is probably up to the band. And I mean, when you listen to interviews at this point, they're kind of doing the Rammstein thing, where it's just like, if it feels right, we'll do it. If not, then who cares?
Yeah.
And when you're at that stage and you lost one of the most important guys in the band, who, again, like I said, who knows what's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I've never been much of a Foo Fighters fan, and I could probably name 5 songs. There's probably half of them that I actually like. So I didn't know his name until a couple of weeks ago when they were promoting the movie, and I read an article. I always knew just Dave Grohl was in the Foo Fighters. Just band was never for me, but he's obviously got lots of fans, so condolences to the fans and his family and his band members. It's always sad when a musician dies.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing, first and foremost, is to the well wishes and condolences to his his wife and children first, and his bandmates, his family, his friends, all those that sort of knew and loved him. It's one of those things where you sit there and go, okay, hope they're all coping as well as they can, especially when it's such a shock to the system there. Now, you read stories now and it all comes in. Now, I haven't followed Foo Fighters in passing, covered a lot of their stuff, but at the same time, just not really been hooked per se. I've appreciated it, but not been a diehard fan. But that's got really nothing to do with the impact and bearing he's had on the band, which in turn has an impact on the music industry overall. The legacy this band will leave behind will be huge when it's done. And I think that he is quintessentially a massive, massive part of that. I don't understand. I would be surprised at this point in time if Foo Fighters continued on. I think Dave, or if they do I think Dave will do the drums. It'll be a studio only band, not a touring band. I get that feeling now. I just think that for all the media, like the interviews I've done over the years, the love those two clearly have for each other, and for Dave Grohl in particular, he lost Kurt Cobain all those years ago, and now he's got to go through it again with Taylor Hawkins. You sit there and go, "Fuck, I don't know if he's got it in him to do it again either." So that's I feel extremely sad for Dave Grohl and all this after what he's endured in his years in the music industry as well, which is a huge thing. But I think that it's going to take a while for the dust to settle, quote unquote. But I think that the tributes will flow for quite some time, and it'll be well deserved for mine. I just think we're seeing a spate of people that are dying a bit young. We had Shane Warne recently as well. There's a few kicking off of that 50 mark at the moment. There's all sorts of theories, but I'm not going to get into all those rings. But just it's a sad day for music in general, I think. And again, condolences to his family, his bandmates, and everyone that knew and loved him. Because I get the impression, having not known him at all, but I get the impression that he was going to leave one hell of a big hole to be filled, and I don't think that's going to be done at all. So I will be very surprised if Foo Fighters do it again. I think you might, depending on how ambitious they want to be. It'd be ironic because I think Taylor Hawkins did one of those Queen things, and he was helping out, celebrate some Freddie Mercury stuff, and then it'd be interesting to see like a tribute show done in that regard. I think Foo Fighters are at the level they could probably pull something like that off down the line if they wanted to do like a rotating cast to do like a
absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll watch this space in that regard. I don't know for sure what'll happen in that regard, but it's I just don't know how the band itself will continue after this. I think that's a huge hole. What?
Let's be real. It's probably going to be like Travis Barker or someone.
Well, again, how much is nostalgia worth, Tim? But it'll be interesting. Just to put a light note on things there. But also, while we're talking about this sort of stuff too, we got word last week about the passing of Stephen Moore, who was a huge fan of ours and of the wider scene in Melbourne across the board. For those that knew him, or if he was a fan of your band, you could have no better ally in your corner kind of thing. He was one of a kind. And that's one of the downsides of doing this is that you get the audience, you get the fans, and then, you find out some of them pass away over time as it goes on. Life just happens. But this was a bit of a shock because he was always... It was quietly spoken, but he had a presence about him, and he was really, really interesting. And his wealth of knowledge, his passion for music was second to none. And I know that he will definitely be missed amongst the music scene here. And just on that note, we're putting together a couple of episodes where I went through and trawled our comments on Facebook for references he'd made to bands or things he was promoting or pushing or trying to get us to check out and stuff. And Dave, you were there. We went there and went through the list that he put out there or that I compiled out of what he commented on. And we filmed a whole lot of stuff there. So the next couple of weeks on Saturday nights are going to be dedicated to Stephen Moore because he was a huge supporter of ours over the years. And so our condolences again to his family, friends, and those that knew and loved him because, he was, like I said, his passion was infectious. No matter online or in person, he was fantastic to have a chat to. I don't know, Dave, did you want to have any additional thoughts to that? Or?
Yeah, I only met him in person once at the Hard Rock Show gig back at the Extravaganza. But I'd been friends with him on Facebook since before I was actually doing the show. We just started chatting in the comments, I think, on the Hard Rock Show page. Just as you do on Facebook, you just, people you talk to regularly end up being Facebook friends. But unlike a lot of, Facebook friends, he was very active on personal posts, on the Hard Rock Show post.
Yeah.
I didn't know him that well in person, but it was kind of like losing an actual friend because he liked music. I like music. He liked movies. I like movies. He liked wrestling. I like wrestling. Regardless of what topics I'd put up, we'd always have something to chat about. We'd private message occasionally. I'd like hook him up with, some Nightwish shows that I got. And it's a weird world that we live in at the moment because, you don't physically hang out with people, but they're part of your life every day. And when I heard the news, I was like, what the fuck? Man, because it's just not going to be there anymore. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's don't really know how to put it. It's hard in this environment, isn't it? It's an interesting one to get your head around. Yeah. Tim, I know you bumped into him at the wrestling shows, if nothing else. So, what are your thoughts?
Stephen was a really great guy. And hearing that he passed away was very saddening, to say the least. So yeah.
There's not a lot you can say, is there? At the end of the day, it's just one of those things.
Not really. Like I said, it was a shame because he was a really good guy.
It's one of those things where, for those on the scene, he'll leave a mark, but you wish he might have been more widely known, if that makes sense, because that passion he had would have spread really far and wide. It's a shame that it wasn't to be. But again, our condolences, and there will be more to come on that on our TV side of things over the next couple of weeks on Saturday nights. In general, actually, we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. But more to come on that. But again, our condolences to his family and friends and those that knew and loved him, because that was you watch someone from far away and they go. That's one thing. When it's someone you've interacted with and you've gotten to know a bit over the years, that's a bit more of a gut punch, and that one stung a bit. So sad days all around there. We'll get into some fun stuff in a second. Let's get some comments here in a moment. Going back to the Def Leppard comment here, Darren says, I'll leave Def Leppard in the 80s, and that's entirely your prerogative if you want to do that. All right, Lee says, left Slayer to watch them at Download to see what the fuss was about. Concur that live show is great, but music is vanilla. Okay, there we go.
You left Slayer. You missed out.
Nicole says,
granted, to be fair, even if I wanted to leave Slayer, I probably couldn't have.
Yeah, well, that's true. You're right down the front, so.
Yeah, I was right down the front.
Nicole says, rest in peace to Taylor there, which is another one there. To Tom on that topic there was, I was in shock when I first saw the tweet, thought it was a fake. Such an amazing talent, and everyone said he was a great guy. So that's the thing too, is that there's not been a bad word said about Taylor Hawkins over the years at all. Conrad says, I was there in Geelong. This is quite a shock indeed. The same thing happened for me seeing Tom Petty, and not long after he too left us. It really knocks you and shakes you. That's another one too that was a big deal as well. Rowan says, did anyone else hear some Night Flight Orchestra in the new Arcane Saints album? I think they're taking the piss out of you there.
Let me just take that knife out of my back.
Yeah, that one hurts. Oh, fuck, that's a good one. Nice one, Rowan. That's a good comment. Dean says, the ones that die suddenly hurt the most, and this is up there. An influence on myself as a drummer. He was a badass drummer and singer. Most importantly, Dave's right-hand man. We lost a legend, but most importantly, his wife is without a husband. His children are without a father. Condolences to them and to the band. Very well put there, our good friend Dean. Nicely said. Michael said, I agree, Tim. I think that's it for the Foo Fighters, which is, I think we're all pretty much in concurrence there. Conrad said it's going to affect Dave big time. For him, it will be like losing Kurt all over again, and that would be interesting to see what sort of memories that's going to trigger for him over time as well. Another one here, which is another part of the whole story, is that Taylor and Dave gave off good best friends vibes in their interviews. That's very true as well, Darren. Everything I've read and seen from these guys is just all a lot of love and family. And Rowan giving you the poking the tongue out emoji there for the Night Flight Orchestra Arcane Saints remark. What do we got here? Dean says, I don't know what the Foo Fighters are going to do now. I'm with Tim. It's a waiting game, but what will Dave do? It's two big deaths in now, which is huge. TC, that drum intro to Hero still grabs me every time I hear it, and that's one of those things too. It's left behind one hell of a legacy in that regard. Damien said, the fortunate thing, I suppose, is Dave Grohl is involved in so many projects that they could hang up the band name without any great deal of financial consequence, and that's true as well. They've also got the studio as well. So there's a lot of projects that Dave Grohl can continue doing, and things will keep moving. I think that band's not got anything to worry about in that regard anyway. Sally says, I'm sort of surprised by how deep Taylor's passing cut. Love the Foo Fighters and listen to them a lot. Big Dave fan, but when you thought of the Fooies, it was always Dave and Taylor inclusively. He had a huge light in him, very generous and kind. So sad for me because just so unexpected, my heart breaks for Dave. So we're getting some really nice sentiments here, which is nice. Keep sharing if you feel so inclined, folks. Tom says, I think you'll see a Grohl solo record. I'd be very surprised if they tried with a new drummer. I think, yeah, that's where we're all kind of at. Dean says, for him, he was the modern Roger Taylor as he was hugely influenced by Queen. That's another one there as well. Nicole says, the only drummer who I would like to see sit in that seat is Rufus Taylor. That's okay. Yeah, I'll pay that one too. Dean says condolences to his family as well. Let's talk about Stephen now there for a second. And Darren said Slayer were fucking awesome at download. So there we go. And yeah. And Dean said the deaths this year have been shit so far. Definitely warning. This hurts, both in their 50s. So there you go. It is that. Unfortunately, the older we get, the more it's going to happen, folks. So that's just where we are in life these days. Alrighty, let's move on. Let's have some fun. We have 4 reviews to do. Let's knock them over. First up is the Aussie review tonight, and this is from Perth band Cross-Eyed Lover. So the band is Cross-Eyed Lover. The song is Blonde Zombie, which happens to be the title of the album as well. That's your reference track. It's in the comments. It's in the description box. So please do go and check that out while we give you our thoughts on this. So this is Cross-Eyed Lover with Blonde Zombie. 11 tracks, 48 minutes, the debut album from the Perth band, released March 2022, independently produced by the band at Flat Spin Recordings. 2 singles have been released in What You Gonna Do and the title track. The long-time viewers might get a bit of a nostalgic blast from the past here because Andy Smith, formerly of Baby Jane, is the vocalist for this group. This was done over about 2 years with the band whittling this down for about 20 songs I had ready to go. And a big thank you to the band for sending this in, and we'll give it our thoughts now. Let's go Tim first on this one.
Well, okay. I actually thought this was really good. It's just a good, solid hard rock record, somewhere in between, sort of like, sort of between like a really harsher sort of Sunset Strip band and sort of a pub rock band, somewhere in the middle there.
It reminds me,
I thought, yeah, go on.
I'm just trying to think of that band. I'm doing the whole Dave's brain fog thing. They released that they had the clip with Tash in it recently. What's?
Right After Midnight.
Yes, remind me of them a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of them. You know, I thought lyrics were clever. I thought the guitar work was really tasty. That was my highlight.
Okay,
for
cool.
Sure. I like the title Blonde Zombie too, so I was very partial to that as well from the beginning. But overall, there were some catchy lyrics over there. I don't think it's, so I think it's just a good, solid hard rock band from a local hard rock release. Spit it out. They're from Perth, so I mean, I'd love to see them come over. If they can come over, I'll definitely go check it out. I think, it's not going to change your life. It's not a life-changing hard rock record, but it's certainly worth a good listen. Definitely getting good spins out of it, and I'm pleased to see. I mean, looks like it's done pretty well on the Spotify thing, so that's pretty good as well. 8 of the Shame was my highlight, and 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. All right, cool. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, this is cool. And as Tim mentioned, the title of the album, Blonde Zombie, is fucking great. It just brings up a whole bunch of questions and images. I'm not going to go. I like zombies. I like blondes, so it's all good. It can be a fun listen.
Oh, wow.
It kicks off with a cool title track, and then it follows up with Break the Machine. Gives it that 1-2 punch that a good rock album needs. There's nice tight riffing, and guitar tone's cool. It's not overly distorted, and it gives this band a unique sound, which is cool.
Yeah.
Songs are quite catchy, and it's one of those albums where every time I listen to it, I find a different one that that's cool. Just like, that's cool. Just like, which one's a standout? You can't put them all as a standout. It's like, okay. Gotta Crawl, got a very cool, nice bass intro. And like that song, how it unfolds nicely. It's a very cool story. Ends from all that rocker as well. That was pretty cool. This would be good to hear live. I think this band, if they want to come over, it'd be a fun night out. Got to give credit to the album cover. It's simple but very effective. Cool images.
Yeah.
One of those ones would look cool on a t-shirt as well. And obviously Blonde Zombie, Break the Machine, and Gotta Get Out and Gotta Crawl.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty much upbeat hard rock. It's got that Sunset Strip kind of vibe to it, but it's it's the grittier kind of thing of that grittier side of that kind of music. There's loads of riffs, energy, some nice solos, and there's like Tim mentioned that the guitar work is pretty bloody good on this one too. And the vocals have just that right kind of attitude for this style of music. It's all bang on for the style, which is a very, very cool listen from start to finish in that regard. Some nice grit and rumble in this one. Tracks like Break the Machine really lean into the sort of heavier side of what they do really well. There's nothing complicated in this one, but it's a good time. It's one of those albums where, if you saw this live, it'd be a hell of a lot of fun. These guys with, Right After Midnight and Dangerous Curves or something, maybe be a fun night out kind of thing. That'd be a good little lineup.
That'd be a good
band. Yeah. That'd be cool. I think that, again, the mix also complements that side of things as well. There's just the right amount of dirt in this. It's not polished up. You don't want it to be. It's all well mixed, though. There's good push and pull between the vocals and the guitar. I especially noticed that how things went really forward and backward between those two elements to really bring that sort of drama to the songs. Because while there's nothing complicated, you want to have those moments that, have different things or bring different emotive points to it, and they've done that well. I thought on top of that, there was some really nice use of the panning on this one too. And I like how overall it's a bit drier than other mixes at the moment too. It's not overly reverbed up or anything. It's just got a bit more of a raw sort of punch to it, which I think actually suits the sound really, really well. And it's not a missed trick. I think it's actually something that accents what they do very, very nicely. It's very, very cool. I think the only knock on how it sounds, I think the kick could have used a bit more warmth to it. It's got that really clicky kick sound to it, but that's a taste thing, not an execution thing. I think if that's the tone they wanted, they executed it just fine. It's been mentioned before. There's some great wordplay in this. I think the lyrics are catchy and clever. There's some little witty touches in the stories, which are well done. But there's also some nice softer touches on this one too, with tracks like Ain't It a Shame. And those, more quiet moments are well placed and really help the album to move along nicely. There's great use of tempo across this one overall. Tracks like Two's Good, that brings the groove in really nicely, and there's a nice little bit of a subtle tambourine touch on that one too. So there's some little bits of ear candy here and there in this one as well, and little bits of the 80s in this as well. Got to Get Out, and the pace of that one with the 80s kind of energy is really infectious too. So they've got a bit of everything in this one, but it all fits together really nicely. If you like hard rock at all, this is one you should really, really check out. I think the only sort of weak spot I could pick on this was the closing track. I thought that was a bit forced by comparison to the rest of the songs, but it could be just a taste thing at the same time. But it just didn't feel like it quite fit. But generally speaking, this is a really good, solid album, well worth your time. It's a meat and potatoes kind of hard rock record, and I'm all for it. I like having those ones in my collection. This is very, very cool. I think pretty much anyone and everyone in our audience will enjoy at least something on this one. It's one of those records that will appeal to a lot of people. So give it a spin. Let us know what your thoughts are or what you think. I gave it an 8 out of 10 myself. Got to Get Out, Break the Machine, and Two's Good were my standouts on this one there. So thanks to the band for sending it in, and hopefully you enjoyed the review. I've got some comments on this one too. So Nicole says, ska, punk, and rock. Very cool. There were a few different little elements in this one, which is a very nice touch there. Darren said, pretty cool song, which is nice. Cool. Belle says, enjoyed the whole album. Great lyrics and love the dirty guitar tone. They're like a cross between Queens of the Stone Age and the Cops. There's a good little cross-section there. Nice. Neil says, Cross-Eyed Lover remind me of Phil Campbell and the Bastard Son. Sounds good. That's a good comp as well. So this is what I mean. Like, what we hear and what everyone else hears, that everyone's pulling different references out, which is actually really cool. And it shows you just how much, the broad-based appeal is for these guys. So, yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think, and we'll move on to the next one. It's funny, we're speaking of Dave Grohl a bit earlier on. We're going to be speaking more about him right about now. So, next up is the latest or debut or whatever you want to consider it to be from Dream Widow. There's a link to the clip Encino, which has just been dropped a few days ago. That's in the comments and in the description box. So it's Dream Widow, it's Encino. It's more or less a solo project from Dave Grohl. So we'll do the review of this one and see how things go. So it's Dream Widow with their self-titled quote-unquote EP, the debut EP, although it is in album length at 8 tracks and 43 minutes. It's a virtual solo project of Dave Grohl, like I was saying before, released March 2022 via Roswell Records. Produced by Dave Grohl and Oliver Roman at Studio 606. One single has been released in March of The Insane. This is the quote-unquote unreleased album at the heart of the recent Studio 666 movie and is a long way removed from anything Foo Fighters. So, Dave, how did you go?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to approach this. March of the single from a few weeks ago, that was okay. I'm thinking I'm not the biggest fan of this genre of death, ever, whatever the hell you want to call it. And it can get a bit monotonous with the same tempos and the growly vocals. So could have gone either way for me, but it's not terrible. And some parts are actually really. There's some parts that drag on a bit. As most of it, the vocals are quite coherent. So I think Dave does a pretty good death growl, but still remain his melodic tone, which can be hard to do, but he does that pretty well. The song "Cold" that was really cool, and he had some really lyrics. I thought that was fun. Guitar tone is really cool and fits this production of music, style of music well. The production is much better than what you would usually hear in this genre. I think he actually had a budget for this, but he was going for back tin shed sound. He didn't get it. The sounds well produced. Angel with Severed Wings. I thought that sounded like a Foo Fighters song with more distortion.
Yeah, just probably a fair point.
Yeah, just sounded like, it might have been a B-side. Just like, we'll bring it here, dirty it up a bit. The song Becoming, the first 3.5 minutes was really boring. Just like, this going anywhere. I'm guessing in the movie, it will probably work more. There's probably some visuals that go along with it. But as an album track, it's just like, fuck, is this going anywhere? Okay, it's like a 7 song, and finally halfway through, we're getting somewhere. The last song, I'm not good at pronouncing Latin. Was it Lacrimus del Ebris or whatever the fuck? That's really cool. That was probably the highlight of the.
Lacrimus de Erebius.
Yeah, that's a cool song. Possibly because no vocals on it, but musically it's fucking great. Long song, dynamics in it. Thought that was cool. It's probably a fun project for Dave. Just it's an interesting listen, but I don't know how often I'll go into it. But if you like Foo Fighters and you like the heavier side of metal, it'll probably appeal to you. But 7 out of 10, and Cold and the Latin song at the end, that was cool.
Okay, nice. Well, Tim, this is more traditionally your wheelhouse than Dave's, so how did you go with it?
All right, so okay, so how I would describe this is I thought this started out as like album of the year.
Okay.
And then I think it fell off a cliff.
Ah, all right.
So Encino, the opening track, I thought was fucking incredible because it is just a guy screaming at the top of his lungs for a few minutes. Brilliant.
Yep.
Cold was again, it was a proper extreme metal track, but it had some nice sensibilities to it. Like it had some nice hooks in it. Great track. March of the Insane, great track.
Yep.
Then the clean singing started, and I just couldn't take it. It just took me right out of it. It sounded like that's what I could hear. It's Dave Grohl, and it just sounded like Dave Grohl, like pissing around in his studio, knowing like he could release whatever and people will eat it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it sounded like, with the exception of the first 3 tracks, which is. Yeah, it was a real shame because it started out like it was fucking brilliant. Yeah. But by the end, it was just I could not wait for this thing to finish.
Wow.
Yeah, like Come All Ye Unfaithful was just a very like things like that. It's just a very lazy title. It's very lazy. Like it's just a very average after that. So it's kind of like it's metal for people who don't like metal. With the exception of the first 3 tracks, which are great. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what you would give this. Like Cold and March of the Insane are my 2 highlights. Which I was surprised that Encino is the second single. I would have thought Cold would have been. But 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Because those first 3 tracks are great.
They are good.
Yeah. The rest, not so much.
All right. See, I kind of sit with both you, but I've gone higher. I liked it more. So it's been an interesting one. Because I'm more into this style than Dave is, but less into it than Tim. So I'm kind of like in that perfect Goldilocks zone for what, the start of this thing. That doesn't all go, the extreme metal side, but it starts off that 1, 2, 3 punch is pretty good at the start. I think that, right from the start, the opening scream, it's not a Foo Fighters record you're getting into. It's a good fit for a movie that's about demonic possession. So, take from that what you will. There's a fair bit of the experimental stuff, especially at the start on this one, but there's also some nicely done, slower, more melodic pieces on this one as well. You got everything from brutal and fast to, sort of solid and chugging. The vocals morph, I thought, really well between, the extreme side and the more melodic stuff. There's nothing super clean on this one. Like, you're not going to get, if you're thinking, Dave Grohl and what you normally hear, with Hero and stuff, you're not hearing that vocal. I know you might hear something that calls you to that, but I don't think it's that clean vocal. It is still very more or a more aggressive tone than what we normally get from Dave, even when it's clean on this record. I thought the mix was well done on this one. I thought the balance was really well executed. Everything sits just right. They've added a little bit of sort of, lo-fi noise to this one, which gives it that sort of the feel of the whole lost tape aspect going into it. Nothing over the top. It's just a little subtle thing which just adds to the drama overall and ties into what you know about the background of the album from start to finish there. What else have we got here? So there's just a nice bit of edge to it overall. It's got some serious bite to it. I thought it was impressive, but the softer moments have also got plenty of room to breathe in this one too. So it was just really well balanced overall from top to bottom. Now, Angel with the Severed Wings is getting a few mentions tonight. It's something that could almost belong on either a Marilyn Manson, a Nine Inch Nails, or a Deftone Records was the impression I got from that, such as the weight and diversity in the writing. So he's starting off with, things like March of the Insane, for example, as track 3, but then you get to this one, it's a very different vibe and feel to what you're getting on March of the Insane. But I like the heaviness of it. I like the aggression. I thought it was cool. The lyrics are well done. I can hear them on this one as well. I think if you like thrash to sort of blackened metal, I think it's one you should check it out and make up your own mind about. It's not all the one thing. There's a bit of diversity going on, so it'll probably capture more people than it loses overall, but I think it's worth checking out. I thought, though, the last couple of tracks on this one, so when you get to, Lacrimus de Erubius and Becoming, those two tracks were ones that, if Brendan was here, it'd be good to get his feedback on that one because he's seen the movie and I don't think any of us have. So I think those two tracks tie into what might have been happening visually, and I think a visual aid with those two songs would have been more beneficial overall. But they're interesting. They work well. It's kind of, it ties into the whole, the album wasn't finished in the movie, so that's kind of where that feels like it ties over for me in that one as well. It's a bit more than meets the eye with this one. It's not a one-trick pony. It's an interesting little release, worth checking out. It's heavy, but it's moody. There's a bit of diversity that it all fits together nicely, and yeah, it's solid. It's riffy, and it's got just the right amount of melody. I enjoyed it a lot. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Angel with the Severed Wings. I was going to say Angel with the Scabbed Wings. I kept thinking Angel with the Scabbed Wings, but it's not that. It's Angel with the Severed Wings. Cold and March of the Insane were standouts on this one. Alrighty, we've got some comments on this, which we normally do when we start talking about ones that people know. So Michael said, love the Dreamweaver album. So there we go. But flip side is, Conrad said, this is utter arse. So there we go. We're getting both sides of the coin in the commentary. Dean says, amazing how Dave can sing like this. The movie was great as well. I saw that at the movies. Was well done release from him. Michael said, yeah, Cold is my favorite song off the album, which is cool. Nicole, I'm really liking this stuff. Glad you are as well. Michael says, yeah, I pass Becoming when I listen to the album. I'm not...
He presses skip.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for helping me there. Damien says, how do you think it compares to Probot? Good question.
I haven't heard Probot in years.
Yeah, it's been a while since I listened to it. It's hard to... there's no recency bias to compare it to, which is hard. From memory, Probot was more impacting. It had left a more lasting impression. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was more diverse too.
Yeah, it was an interesting one.
It had lots of guest singers on it too, didn't it? There was different singers on each track. Made it a lot more interesting, I think.
Yeah. Different vibe. Entirely different. I don't know how you can compare them, to be honest. They're two different beasts entirely. Any thoughts on that, Tim?
I can't say I've listened to Probot.
Okay, cool. All right, just figured I'd ask the question. Alrighty, Nicole says, I get early Creator Cross Destruction, so there's some early influences for you there as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Sorry, go on.
No, just agreeing.
You sound super enthusiastic right now. Sally says, wow, okay, Dave was into death metal big time when he was way younger. Not so much of a surprise, but I had no idea he'd done this at all. We'll give it a go for sure. There we go. Michael says, if you get a chance to see Studio 666, then you understand the album Dream Widow. I feel okay, cool. That helps a lot too. The only track that's missing is a 40-minute track reference from the movie. Cool. But Darren says with Tim on this one. So you got some nice positive feedback for you there as well, Tim. So there we go. All righty. A couple more to go. We'll get through them. One more before we get to the classic for this week, and this is the latest from Hardcore Superstar. So you're going to put that in the comments. It's in the description box as well. Hardcore Superstar, the song I've chosen for your reference track is Abracadabra. So, yeah, this is where we'll sort of get stuck into it. So this is Hardcore Superstar with Abracadabra, which is also the reference track. 10 tracks, 39 minutes, the 12th studio album from this Swedish band released March 2022 via Golden Rebel Records. Produced by John Riven and the band. 5 singles have been released, including Catch Me If You Can and Weep When You Die. This one had quite the build-up and to release, and we've been keen on this for a while. Big thank you to the label and to John Howarth for sending it through to us. Trying to think. So Dave went first last time. So Tim, we'll kick it off with you.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a soft spot for this band just because of how they record drums.
Okay.
And it's very, because you don't really hear very many records like this because they got such a natural drum sound. And it sounds like, because drums are an acoustic instrument, like they sound different at different points of the room.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting behind the kit, it sounds different to if you were standing in front of it. And it sounds like you're sitting behind it, and it's even mixed like that as well. You can always tell when a drummer's mixing an album because your hi-hats are on your left and your 4-toms on your right.
Yep.
But a non-drummer's mixing it the other way around because they're used to listening to it from the other side.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So as a guy who plays drums, it's very it's a great listen. I just pay attention to the drums the whole time. But it's little things too. Like when they hit softer, the drums sound different when you hit them softer from when you hit them harder. But usually, like people just compress the shit out of it, so it sounds the same regardless. Theirs sounds all ringy and buzzy, which is how a snare drum sounds, which is great.
Yep.
But I mean, with these guys, I think these guys sound much better when they're just going a million miles an hour, playing big heavy riffs, and screaming at the top of their lungs, and that's mostly what you get on this album. You do get a couple of singles, as mentioned before, which I mean most people are gonna like. For me personally, not really my thing, but I'll put up with those if it means I get the rest of the record, which is what I get, which is pretty cool, because you get that. I don't know, it's almost like if Refused were a melodic rock band.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
You get that nice harsh vocal, and you get a really aggressive delivery, but you also get a little bit of, Scandinavian rock out of it, which is very nice. It's a nice mix. So, 8 out of 10. This is a good solid release from these guys. I think it's the best thing they've ever done, but it's certainly a very good,
nice,
very good album. Abracadabra was my highlight as well.
Cool. All right. How about you, Dave?
Oh, this is fucking great. Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want a great rock and roll album from one of the newer generation of bands out there, then definitely check this out. And I keep thinking of new Hardcore Superstars, a new band, but they've actually been around for over 20 years. But they're third generation, and I think they should be a lot bigger than they are. Unfortunately, I haven't heard everything that they've released, but this is definitely one of the standout albums from what I have heard. So I think I'd like to hear from other fans of the band who have heard everything where this album ranks in, but this is fucking great. High energy, hard rocking, catchy choruses, engaging lyrics and stories, interesting structures to the songs, hooky riffs, great guitar tone. This is rock and roll. The song Today that got released about a month ago now, and I've heard that to it over and over, but just hearing it in the context of the album, whenever that riff comes on to start the song, just makes me happy. It's one of those rock and roll feel good songs. The song Throw a Brick, that's just an instant classic. A great riff, killer chorus. The trade between the gang vocals and the lead vocals, I thought that was really well done. It made that really punchy. That was very cool. The solos throughout the album, everything just suits the song. There's some subtle use of wah, The song Influencer, that's very well done in there. The solo Weep When You Die is melodic and laid back, and once again, suits the song perfectly. And in contrast, you've got the rocker song, Catch Me If You Can, it just rips it up. I'm not sure the guy's name, but, he just has a great way of dishing out what the song needs. You can tear it up when you need to, or you can just get very melodic and very harmonized. But, that song, Catch Me When You Can, after the solo, there's a killer riff. Pretty simple riff, but it's just like, fuck, this rocks.
Vic Zeno is your guitarist.
Vic Zeno, cool. In my original notes, I mentioned there was flanger. So there's flanger somewhere in here, but the note I had a song title that wasn't on this album, and in fact wasn't on any of the albums that were on this playlist. So my COVID brain really fucked me on that. So it's flanger, but maybe I was hitting something else because I wrote the wrong song title down. So out there, big. Post-COVID, man.
Yeah.
But man, everything here is written and put together really well. The composition and recording of the album is just a fun album to listen to from start to finish. I like how they close with an acoustic track, Fighter, and it's really cool acoustic guitar playing on that. It was a good end with a mellow track. Bands like this should have been started to be elevated to a higher stature 10 years ago. I think they should be bigger as a, but the album rocks. This band rocks. There's no way they'll go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they rock. It's Abracadabra, Forever and a Day, Catch Me If You Can, and Throw a Brick.
Cool. What did you give it again? Score?
8.5.
Okay, cool. Nice. From the start, this one sounds great. I love the tones across the board on this one. There's some nice warmth to this. The vocals are really well placed on this one because the tone allows them to cut through, but they're not going to be jarring or grating, which is really nice. I think the backing vocals really do add to the listen on this one too. The way they use backing vocals, and this is a huge plus. It's all that energy. This has that, and then some. There's some real vibe. There's a real vibe to this one that, if you were to see this played cover to cover live, it'd be a fun show. Like, it'd just be a really fun show to watch this played out live. There's some nice sort of cut here too with tracks like Influencer taking on some social commentary. So that's a bit of a fun one there for people playing along at home. But there's great melody and riffs across the board on this one. For me, the rhythm section on this is probably the highlight on this. The way they provided the pulse on this record was fantastic. It allowed things like the vocals and the lead guitar to go off and do their thing. But yeah, the rhythm section was the main event for me on this listen for sure. It's in the space, how well it's used. Forever and a Day is a great example, of what I'm talking about. Some damn good hooks in this one as well. It's got some great sing-along stuff here too. Infectious as all fuck. It's got big crowd moments. With tracks like Weep When You Die, you can just hear that the audience is going to sing along those songs really, really quickly. And you got some nice rumble as a counterpoint to this with tracks like Give Me a Smile as well. And those gear shifts are really well done on this one to keep the listen engaging. It's really easy to repeat spin this, so it's really well done, and it's a shorter listen, it just flies by. This one's fun, it just easy listen, just goes down so easily. It pretty much has everything you want from this style of music. If you like anything from Guns N' Roses through to Dangerous Curves out of Australia, then you're going to really, really enjoy this release. I think it's just one of those ones where, it takes everything you like about that Sunset Strip era, brings it into today, and, adds their own spin to it. I think they've just done a really good job with it. It's all really good. There's nothing bad about this one, but I think what they've probably done too, they put like 5 tracks out as singles before the album was released, so about half of the album was heard before it came out, and I don't know if so I think the singles are the stronger tracks here. So the deep cuts, whenever you get an album after you've heard some really cool kick-ass singles, you're hoping for those deep cuts to be there. I think they might have sort of oversold it a little bit with the singles, but it's not a critique of the songs or the album. It's just an interesting methodology to the marketing of it, I guess, so to speak. So take it that, what you will in that regard. But I just think it's a good, solid album that, doesn't get tired when you're listening to it at all. And I think that it's just missing after the singles, those deep cuts you would take to your friends and go, you've heard the single, but check out this track. I don't think you have one of those on there by comparison. But it's a solid album from top to bottom. I think it's really well done. If you like your hard rock with melody at all, then this is one you've got to get a hold of because it's well worth your time. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Forever and a Day, Weep When You Die, and Abracadabra are my standouts on this one. Got some comments on this one. So Nicole says, it's okay, but sounds very familiar. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. And that's fair enough. Give me one of those things. Darren says, sounds a bit like Avenged Sevenfold. Pretty cool song. There is a bit of different vibes here and there across this one. So that's an interesting point there. GNR says, how's it going, boys? Good. Hope you are keeping well out there too. Thank you for joining us over on YouTube. Good to see you. Thanks for taking some time with us tonight. Fucking hell. Words. Good, huh? Bell says, straight up damn good music. We'll be adding this to my current album rotation. Very nice. Cool. Good to get some feedback like that. Now, Bell, I know you're waiting for the next one, so this will probably get you excited. Let's get on to our final one for the night. It's our classic album of the week. This is our Patreon choice review. So if you want to get involved in what we do each week with our classic album choices, then join our Patreon page, and that's exactly how you do that. Join our Patreon page, and then you get to vote every week on this one. Before I go just a bit into this is the Eddie McGuire after the break moment. Lee says, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining in again. My introduction was Bad Sneakers and a Pina Colada by accidental purchase. Set me up as a fan. This current opus is not their best. I think the last release, You Can't Kill My Rock and Roll, gets that prize, but nonetheless a great addition to their collection. So there you go. There's some thoughts from long-time fans of it. Thank you for sharing, Lee. Greatly appreciated. All righty. Classic album time. Going to go to a bit of Anthrax. The album is Among the Living. The reference track I've chosen for tonight, you can pick whatever you want, but I've picked Caught in a Mosh. So Anthrax, Caught in a Mosh is in the description box or in the comments now. We're going to have a little chat about the classic album Anthrax, Among the Living. 9 tracks, 51 minutes. The third studio album from the American band released March 1987 via Megaforce and Island. Produced by the band with Eddie Kramer at Quad Radial in Florida and Compass Point in Nassau. 2 singles were released in I Am the Law and Indians. The album peaked number 62 in the US, number 18 in the UK, while also doing well in Europe. It's been certified gold in the US, and the album was dedicated to the passing of Cliff Burton. He died about 6 months prior to the release of this one. Like I was saying, this is the Patreon choice review. If you want to get involved in the voting of that one, then you just join up at whatever tier you like. The cheapest is fine. Just jump in and you get to vote every week on our classic album review. Dave's got the CD there. He's been hanging to get a hold of this, so let's go to you first.
Yeah, the album is absolutely fantastic. It's the second album I ever heard from Anthrax. The first was State of Euphoria. It's probably the first Thrash album I heard. Probably heard this before, Metallica or Megadeth or Slayer. And this album just remains a favorite from this band, and it's just a favorite album in general to this day. When I was 12, I think, when I used to use The Horror of It All as an alarm wake-up.
Wow,
I used to, first thing in the morning. It just had that subtle acoustic intro, and then it got heavier and heavier, which is cool way to wake up and get ready to go to high. Funny was the old alarm clock had the cassette player in it. I still actually own it to this day. That's my alarm clock in the morning. The cassette player is fucked, but the actual alarm clock works. So if it's broke, don't throw it out. Still use it. Anyway, the thing that makes this album so excellent is just it covers so many different types of themes and topics, and it makes each song its own individual little piece. But as a full album, it's just easy listen to start to finish. And it just flows beautifully. You know, there's some fun songs, there's some serious songs, and it covers everything from Stephen King novels. You know, when you're a kid from the 80s and you grew up watching horror, and then suddenly these bands are writing about those books and those shows, it's very cool. The Stand and Pupil. Comic book characters like Judge Dredd, and then the John Belushi, that's a good topic. And there's politics and war, there's anti-racism, there's anti-violence. There's a line in the songs that said, ignorance is no excuse for violence. I think Will Smith needs to listen to that song. Overall, they just have a great way of taking inspiration from popular culture and turning it into a song. I mean, they were probably the first band that didn't just fall into the cliche of the black jeans and the rock t-shirts. They started wearing the skater shorts and the popular culture t-shirt and everything. They were a bit less tied into an image. And I thought that probably did a lot to making this band really stand out. And the guitar tone is fucking beautiful on this album. Performances from everyone is excellent. The palm muting and the heavy chugging is really cool. Joey's vocals absolutely smokes it throughout this, and the backup gang vocals, that was being something that everyone fuck this one. They certainly had their own unique take on the thrash genre. There was at the time there was more groove to their stuff than what Megadeth and Anthrax, Megadeth and Metallica were doing. They just had a great way of shifting from like straight eighths to the 16th chug. You know, wasn't just all just thrashing it out. You could have some breathing space in there. Dan Spitz's solos. He wasn't your typical shredder. He could use a lot of harmonized and melodic leads, and it was kind of halftime a lot of the time when they started the solo. But then he would tear it up towards the end. So I thought that was just something that it was a lot different to what the other guys were doing. I love the different textures in the songs, the different shifts in tempo, the different breakdown sections, like in the middle of Indians, just that part, and it goes war dance. Everyone that's heard that song just screams that out.
Yeah.
And the way that the song Horror of It All builds up with the acoustic part, and then it's an open A with a D power chord for most of the point. And then they just use other power chords, but a lot of the time they're just chugging on that, and it just sounds so cool. And in contrast, like an unrelenting track like Skeleton in the Closet, which I love that song even before I knew Pupil, and that's my favorite short. Well, novella, Stephen King. It took a while for the drops. I was like, fuck, that song's about that book.
Yeah.
And I love that they kept the ending of the book and like butchering it like the movie did.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing that a good band does. You know, wherever you're taking inspiration from, your songs have a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Engaging songwriting. I honestly do not think there was a weak moment at all on this album. I was listening to Chris Jericho's podcast a few months back when Anthrax was doing their 40th anniversary, and they were talking about when they did the anniversary for this album. They started initially playing the album in order, and they realized that because everyone went fucking nuts for Among the Living all the way up to Indians, and the last 3 songs, everyone just stood there like they didn't know it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Really?
Yeah.
Those 3 songs are fucking brilliant. They may not be as well known as the other ones, but so they had to mix up the set list. Otherwise, the end of the show would just be dead. But but they're not as iconic and well known, but they're still fucking great tracks. As far as a potentially perfect album goes, I'd give it to this. We did the 1987 King of the Ring a few months ago.
Yeah.
And if this had come up against Appetite for Destruction, I would have had a serious problem. Because, you know, Appetite, as much as I love it, and it's one of probably the best rock and roll albums of all time, there's a couple of weaker moments on there. And I reckon that Use Your Illusion 1 is a better album.
Okay.
This, as 1987 goes, perfect. Yeah. This would probably beat Appetite for Destruction for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's saying a lot, but I think this is fucking brilliant.
Heard it here first.
Such a great, instantly recognizable. It's one of those iconic metal albums, whether you got it on a t-shirt or a patch or whatever, it's just brilliant. 10 out of 10, and I can't pick standouts. It's all great.
Nice. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, no, it's close to the perfect album. I mean, but what makes it is it's also unique for the time as well, because you can kind of hear you can hear that these guys are very obviously, you know, fans of a lot of different types of music.
Yeah.
And they somehow managed to like merge it all into this great thrashy goodness. And I mean, but that's sort of what makes Anthrax Anthrax, is they don't sound like anybody else. You know, they sound like Anthrax, and you can't really replicate it. You know, they've got this weird. They have this ability to, you know, be infectious and be fun, but also be serious and also be. It's a very enjoyable listen from start to finish. You can't really replicate the experience of Anthrax. I mean, did anyone see them a few years back?
I saw them a couple of times at the festivals.
Yeah, I think I've seen them twice now. I've seen them twice now. They were both times they're fantastic live.
They're great live. Yeah.
All these songs go great live. Yeah, fantastic band. I mean, like, you can't fault this record from start to finish. Just like Dave said, I mean, a couple of tracks towards the end aren't as well known, but it's not that's not for the lack of quality. That's just for drawing the short straw and being towards the end of the album.
Yeah.
But yeah, start to finish is great. If I did have to pick a highlight, though, it would be Caught in a Mosh.
Okay. Yep.
Just because I love the build up into that chorus and that breakdowny bit that is the chorus, and just that gag vocal of that, and just how like it's hardcore punk before hardcore punk.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's great. It's just great.
Yep. So yep. Sorry.
I don't know what. Yeah, it's a 10. This is undeniably a 10 out of 10. This is one of the greatest albums of all time. It's one of the most important metal albums ever written.
Cool. Nice. It's regarded as the band's breakthrough into the big four kind of thing. But I think this is like, it sounds weird to say it after the raving reviews you guys are giving it, but I think it's one of those sneaky good ones. I don't think this, you think about the big four. I don't know how many people think of this album as being one of the albums from that whole thing, but I think it should be. I think it's a bit overlooked by, just by the wider people out there. I think it's...
Well, Anthrax aren't as popular as Metallica.
Yeah. And that, but when it comes down to just execution style, because it was different to anything else at the time as well, just the way it was put together, like the whole thing from start to finish is just so well done that it makes you smile, it makes you think. I think lyrically these guys are critically underrated. Like they are extremely underrated.
Miles ahead of everybody else at the time.
Yeah, from social commentary through to talks, songs about comic book heroes. Like you've got everything, but it's all done exceptionally, extremely well. There's a great raw energy and intensity to this one. It's all captured just right. The mix just did what it needed to. They didn't need to go and put any bells and whistles in. They just needed to play the songs, capture it, mix it right, and just put it out there. And I love the energy this has from start to finish. I think that, it's funny that Dave mentioned the 87 thing. I think that stylistically and sonically, this one just leaps out. It just leaps out of the pack. It just really is one of those ones from that era that just flies away. It's one of those ones where it's hard because I know it didn't, make the final round at the end with our 87 King of the Riff thing, Dave. But it was one of those ones where you look back now and you go, fuck, it still is that bloody good of an album, isn't it? It's hard. You can't write it off. You shouldn't underappreciate it. It's so well done. And it's one of those ones where the more time you spend with it, the more it grows in you as well, because you appreciate, or for me anyway, I appreciated the subtlety and the intelligence in the lyrics, if nothing else. Just the way that complemented the songwriting and the musicality of it all, and how different they are to all the other bands of the era, which just sets them apart from anything else going on. I just thought it was really well done. You get swept up by the energy and the enthusiasm on this one too. It's the all-time songs on this, like Indians, Caught in a Mosh, I'm the Law, like Skeleton in the Closet. I think there are some all-time metal songs on this record. And what's not to like about a song about Judge Dredd? Like, what is not to like? It's fucking cool. Like you've got that's the balance between, like, you got some fun stuff with that and you got the serious stuff with Indians, and they just executed both sides of who and what they are and everything in between color-wise. Just they've done it so well. It's dark, it's fun, they've nailed it. I think that, again, I think that their ability to make a point and to ram it home is just underrated. I think this is just such a solid fucking album. It's got attitude, it's got swagger, it's got the riffs, it's got everything you want. I think that, the only downside is that, maybe taste-wise it doesn't have quite the cut through, but if you just listen to it purely from just execution and all that sort of stuff, it's so fucking good. And like I said, it gets better the more time you spend with it. Like, my score goes up and up and up if possible, but at this point in time, it's a 10 out of 10 album for me as well. I think this is just fantastic. One of the greats of the genre and the era, if nothing else. So yeah, 10 from me. Indians, I'm the Law, Skeleton in the Closet, but fuck, you can do everything in this one. Yeah, I don't know. NFL, I love NFL. Like, yeah, now people got that so fucking confused as well. Like, that is so cool. Nice fucking life. Like, there's heaps on this one. One World is a great one too. Like, there's heaps of good songs in this one. So if you haven't, by some miracle, checked out this album, you must unfuck that. Go and check it out. We've all given it a rave review, so get on it. We do have some comments on this one though, which is not a surprise. Conrad says, probably my favorite Anthrax album along with Persistence of Time, which is nice. Damien says, Scott Ian is sublime, which is cool. Nicole says, I love Anthrax. I always called it basketball music. You can mosh, headbang, or dance to them. So there you go. That's actually a pretty good point there too. Nicely put, Nicole. Darren says, favorite album from Anthrax, great songs. I love Skeleton in the Closet. So, yeah, if you're checking it out, let us know what your favorite songs are too, just for some fun out there as well. Conrad, I remember hearing this in high school in 87. It blew my mind. It was so heavy for back then, still is today. Very true. Nicole, yes, I saw Anthrax live. That's cool there. Lee, it missed the 86 schedule with the releases of their thrash peers, Metallica and Slayer's supposed finest hours. Equal measure in terms of significance for mine, deserving of greater accolades. A perfect album, 10 out of 10. So nicely put, Lee. Well done. Damien says it's a must-have metal history album. So there we go. And Bell says what Dave, Tim, and Andrew said. Nothing more to add. Just smiling and nodding. 11 out of 10 from her. So there we go. Nice little footnote on the end there. But that about brings us to the end of proceedings tonight. So a big thank you to some Patreon supporters here. So TC, Sonia, Lee, Bell, Conrad, all here tonight. Jason, Brendan, 16x9, Marty Powell, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, and Man Family. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon. Please do get amongst it. Any help you can give us there is greatly, greatly appreciated. So I'm going to put a link to that in the comments now. It's also in the description box if you feel like jumping in. Every bit does help us to get much more done. So please do check it out. And whatever help you want to give us there, you're in the running for giveaways. So one of the things we're giving away next month is going to be either a T-shirt for Ginger, or it's going to be one of these limited edition Steins. So there's that one. We have very few of those left. That's going to be a limited, so it'll be a choice. If you win the giveaway, we're going to do it next week live on the stream. But yeah, if you win, you get to choose which prize you want. But I'll work all that out as we go through the week coming up for next Wednesday. So yeah, please do check out our Patreon page. Any help you can give us there is greatly appreciated. And a big thank you, of course, our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details are in the description box as well. So please find them, give them a like, a follow, a share, all the usual stuff. Same thing for us. All of our details are there too. So all those things. If you don't want to jump on Patreon, that's cool. Just give us an interaction on social when you see us, or a like, a emoji, or fucking, I don't know, anything, a comment, a share, all that sort of stuff helps us get the organic reach out there. So please do get around that and help us out in that regard, if nothing else. We're currently on TV in Adelaide. So Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide, 10 p.m. local time is the time. Check us out there. And 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne. That's what's coming up there. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a tribute to Stephen Moore. And then after that, we're going to be having... we're going to be doing one that's a THRS by request, which we've been posting about over the last few days and just getting... So if you've got a request you want us to play on the show, the TV broadcast, then yeah, let us know in those posts. And then also we'll be doing one that's on power trios or three-piece bands. So that's coming up as well. So that'll be a couple of fun episodes coming up. And then for the 2-hour episode at the end of the month, which I haven't even told you guys yet, I don't think, but we'll do a 2-hour special episode dedicated to Taylor Hawkins in some way, shape, or form. So that's what we're doing in a couple of weeks. We'll set it up and film that and knock it out of the park, hopefully. So that'll be there for everyone coming up for the marathon coming up very, very soon. That's where we're at with all the usual stuff to keep up to date with. The next stream on Wednesday, we're going to be covering a classic from Foreigner. We're going to talk about the latest from Aussie band North Lane, as well as the latest from Meshuggah and the Helicopters. So another diverse episode coming your way next Wednesday night. That's what's coming up. There's heaps going on. If you want to get in touch with us at all, make a suggestion or a feedback or whatever else, then the best way to do so is to do it via our email address, which is in the description box, but it's also in the comments now. It's just media@thehardrockshow.com. That is the best way to get in touch with us there. We'll get to a bin in a moment. We've got a couple of questions here, or comments, sorry. Damien says, cheers, lads. Been a blast. Glad you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Nicole, jumping the gun, but we'll do it for her. Bin, cluster headaches in the bin. Day 4. Oh, I feel your pain. That sucks. Hopefully get better soon. What else we got here? So Lee asks, how good is the Michael Romeo album? I haven't checked it out yet, unfortunately. I haven't had a chance. I've been too busy cramming stuff for this week and getting things done. I'll hopefully be able to check it out over this coming weekend, which is my plan. But hopefully I'll be able to let you know in a couple of days. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we get out of here and get to a bin and all that sort of stuff?
No, I think we're good.
No?
Oh, Meshuggah soon.
Yeah. In about...
We're an hour and 10 minutes away from you, Meshuggah, coming out in Australia.
I knew that'd get your attention, so that'll be that's one we're definitely going to.
The Colossus was so fucking brilliant.
That was, yes. And they're a great band live too. Fuck me dead.
Oh my god,
impressive. So it's going to be interesting to see. But what they've shown us so far has been very, very exciting. So keen to hear the album. About an hour away, folks. So if you're keen on Meshuggah, check that out. But otherwise, Helicopters is out in an hour, as is the latest in North Lane too. So they're all out in about an hour. So there you go. Tom has gone. Another great show. Thanks, guys. See you all next week. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate the feedback and the support there too. And Nicole's going, nothing a hammer wouldn't fix. So don't take a hammer to your head. It's not The Walking Dead. Not yet, anyway.
Hammer ball.
Oh, fuck. There we go. All righty. Let's do it. Let's do a bin and get out of here. And Tim, we'll start with you.
The motherfucker who cut me off driving the other day. Just people are fucking idiots. I hate you. I'm normally a fairly mild-mannered person, but when I get behind the wheel, I turn into a little bit of road rage. Yes, that's about 95%. I have my window open when I'm driving, and I feel sorry for people driving next to me. But there's one motherfucking arsehole. Like, people who nearly cause accidents at going 10 kilometers an hour, you're a dickhead. If you can't control your car at 100 kilometers an hour, you should have a license. Yeah. And if you are desperately trying to get home, if you are in a rush, but you are driving at 5:15 on a Friday afternoon, you are not going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. Just give up. You left too late. It's your own fault. I cannot stand people. COVID has ruined my ability to deal with humans. Yes, very true, and it's ruined everyone else's driving ability too. I know. I worked through the whole of COVID, so I'm a lot used to having no cars on the road. Same now it's just like, what are they doing with these motherfuckers off here? Fuck. God damn you people. Yeah, it's a bit of a shit show on the road. So whatever you're doing, drive safe first and foremost. Yeah, drive safely, people. It's not. Yeah. It's a mess. Alrighty, Dave, what have you got?
Oh fuck! I got a whole list. I'm trying to decide. Fuck it, Will Smith in the bin. Your drastic overreacting just made everything so much worse. It wasn't a good joke, but it honestly wasn't intended to be insulting. But by doing what he did, he's highlighted his wife's infidelities and made memes so fucking hilarious. That's going to be meme for the rest of your life, man. You fight on your wife's condition, and you so much worse. And you also modeled really bad behavior for your son, which is fucked up. And the other part of this bin is Hollywood in general. Everyone that was in attendance at the awards moments after when he won his Oscar, they all gave him a standing ovation. For someone who
that was disgusting.
Like, fuck that. And Jim, 100%, he's disgusted by it. He said he would have sued. But it just shows that how fucked up Hollywood is. And these are the people that are like role models and set trends and opinions and influence people. It's just a fucking cesspool now. It's absolutely graceful. Yeah. Agreed. And the other thing, people with no sense of humor.
There are tons of people who worked really hard to get to that point. Who had the spotlight taken away from them because one guy decided to be an idiot.
Yeah. I don't know anybody else that won an award. I don't even know what the hell movie he won an award for. It's just like the entire night. But yeah, also people without a sense of humor. The people are trying to humor shame me recently. Fuck you. Okay.
That was the other thing too. It's like I couldn't help but feel bad after a point where it's just like, I was having such a good time, and then all of a sudden,
there's something about it. It's fucking weird. Are you done, Dave, or is there more to go?
I'm done. I'll shut up.
All right.
Are you enjoying Max Caster's rap on Dynamite this week too?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll watch it tomorrow.
You'll enjoy it.
I can't wait.
he wrestles Punk.
Oh wow.
I can send you a link, but there's already a rap song about Will motherfucking Smith, yo.
Oh my god.
His daughter has a song called "I Whip My Hair Back and Forth."
Has a song called I Don't.
It's a terrible song.
Yes, I have heard that one. Unfortunately, isn't that like a trend or something for a little while? That one. Oh fuck if I know.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Quick bin for me. The budget and the federal government in general, but especially for cutting off the arts again. Fuck you. Get in the bin. Do not vote for the LNP, for the Liberals or the Nationals at the next election. Do not put them down the fucking bottom because they are killing everything. I know I try to keep it lighthearted here, but fuck me, that's just pissed me off. And the other one too is it's been done to death. I know, but I don't give a fuck about the joke or whatever else. But if the joke's a shit joke, okay, fine, it's a shit joke, and it probably was a shit joke to be honest. But this idea that somehow violence is an acceptable response to words, that needs to be on the bin. We're not fucking walking around with pistols at dawns and glove slap fucking challenges. It's 2022. Okay? Whatever happened to sticks and stones, love? I don't care. Words can hurt. I'm not dismissing that. I get that. But if you think violence is an appropriate response, no. And anyone that glorifies that, get in there. It's fucking pointless. No one wins. No one wins. Just
makes
fucking
so much worse.
And I say that with someone who's done all sorts of stupid shit over the years. Just don't. It's not fucking worth it. It's really not. Don't accomplish shit. But anyway, that's that. We'll try and get on some funnier comments here. So after the hammer comment, Nicole's gone last man standing. So there we go with the Walking Dead reference there. So let us know how you go with the zombie apocalypse. See how long your headache lasts for. So there you go with that. Brad says, great show, guys. Thank you for joining us and glad you enjoyed it. Rowan says, social media trolls in the bin. Yes, definitely over on YouTube tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Nicole said, don't drive up here then, Tim. I haven't done a lot of driving in Queensland. What I've seen has been interesting, let's say.
I did drive to Brisbane once with a friend of mine when she was living in Brisbane at the time. And I found Brisbane drivers to be relatively polite. The difference is, like, traffic's not nearly as bad in peak hour in Brisbane as it is here.
Yeah.
Or at least it was when I was there.
Yeah. I've always found New South Wales to be the worst, personally. Sorry to anyone in New South Wales, but I just can't get my head around.
Or New South Wales is not great either.
Yeah. Victoria's nuts. Don't get me wrong. We're not fucking great down here either. It's just fucking weird. Lee's gone, bin all the YouTube bot comments from tonight, definitely.
And then, have you ever seen Italian? Have you ever seen Cars in Rome?
Yes, it's fucked. That's nuts.
That is the worst place to drive.
I'm never driving in Rome. That's fucked.
Every single car has a dent in it.
Yeah, it's bad. Dave, have you ever seen any footage of it, like Rome driving?
No.
It's so bad. It is so.
The rule is, right, pedestrians have right of way. So if you cross the street, you've got right of way, right?
Yeah.
The cars will stop, right? The cars will stop, but if you're waiting for them to stop first, they're not going to stop. You've just got to walk.
Yeah.
And they'll either stop just in front of you or swerve around you.
Yeah. It's crazy. I've got footage from years ago. I was up fucking one of the sites, and I forget where it is, but I was looking down. There's a massive roundabout. And watching traffic go through this thing was something like I've never, ever seen before.
It's a free-for-all.
It is. It's like watching ants, like watching an ant hive. It's just fucking pandemonium. It's crazy. Like, ants are more organized than Rome driving. I tell you that right now. It's fucking bonkers.
If you ever go on holiday to Rome, first of all, Rome is a very small city. You can actually walk around the whole thing.
Yeah, done that.
So I'd recommend doing that or taking the train. And just watching for pickpockets.
That, and it's also not as clean as you might think either. It's a pretty gritty kind of a city.
Well, it's a very old city. You know?
It's an interesting one.
Don't if they offer you a hire car for Rome, don't say no.
Don't take it. Just get public transport or walk. You don't need a car. You do not need a car in Rome. All right. Yeah, Darren says, imagine how many people wanted to slap Ricky Gervais, but no one did because they are jokes. That's another point there as well.
Well, that's the other point that's been raised is how many comics going on stage now?
Yeah.
Like how many people in the audience are like who wants to be the next Will Smith?
Yeah. And that happens at the pub level too. Like think about how that flows down.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a piss poor example to set. And if you think Will Smith's apology is genuine, go fuck yourself. Like it's not. It's performative fucking bullshit. Like he didn't give a fuck. He was up there spouting off how he was on a mission from God. Fucking spare me. Whatever.
It's amazing too because right, he's probably one of the only people who could have gotten away with it.
But the thing is, he's that powerful and influential. He could have done anything else but that and made a bigger point and won.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the exactly wrong thing to do, he did it. Fucking dimwit. Anyway, enough of that. Baxter says, enjoyable show, boys. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bella says, loved every minute of this week's playlist. Great show tonight. Cheers. You're most welcome. New playlist will be updated in the morning. Nicole says, sticks and stones. Lol, that's very true. Conrad says, I'm currently taking driving lessons. I'll look out for Tim on the road and flip him off. So there we go.
Well, that's all right, man. We've got more designated drivers coming up. That's good.
Yeah, that's all right. Fucking that's cool. Tom says, sounds like driving in New York. I haven't done that, so that's an interesting one. But also Nicole says, Bali drivers. I haven't done that either. Jody has, but I haven't done that. So there we go. But I think that wraps us up. It's time to get out of here, I reckon. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we get on out of here, or are we going to wrap it up and off to bed?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. All righty. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're back again, same time, place, or Wednesday night next week, actually. Not same time, place. We're back Wednesday night next week. But until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
As always,
Drink up.
Rock on.